And we're live. Welcome to the first annual Yoyito Fishing Tournament from the frozen northern states, with all the folks out there braving the ice for a chance at some great prizes, and more importantly, to participate in reawakening a time-honored fishing method that's been reliably feeding families for thousands of years. I'm your host, Joe Carter, and I'd like to introduce you to the man of the hour, Benny Millares. He is the visionary behind this growing movement to reintroduce the art and fun of handline fishing to the North American sportsman. Benny, how about you tell everybody a little bit about you and the ice fishing tournament, how this all got started?
Thanks, Joe. Well, that's actually an interesting story. It actually started out because we got a few sales from people up north and places like Minnesota and South Dakota and so on, and we weren't quite sure why this was happening. And then I got an email from a fellow in Canada telling me that if there was any way I can ship him a Yoyito, because he wanted to use it for ice fishing. So you know, this is the first time we dawned on us that the Yoyito could be used for such a thing. And so I went ahead and I started looking up and doing some research. Completely amazed by what these guys were doing in the ice. Basically pulling out gigantic fish out of a little hole on the ground. And I reached out to some fellows in a news group, in a Facebook group called Ice Fishing Minnesota. And put out a request to see if anybody was interested in testing the Yoyito for that purpose. And just again amazed by the response. We had like 250, 280 people basically raise their hands and say, yes, we would love to test it and would like to be part of this project and so on. So then we had another problem. Basically, we had a lot more testers than we expected, so we had to go through a process and just select a few. We ended up selecting 11 of them. We shipped them out their Yoyitos, and now they are the Yoyito Ice Fishing team, their official Yoyito Ice Fishing team. You can check out information about them on our website, fishingyoyito.com. Anyhow, so in order to make it not just another product test, we decided to create a contest, and have them participate in that. In addition to, just get more into this, pretty amazing community, be a part of it, which is very interesting.
Yeah. So the Yoyito, tell me a little bit about the Yoyito. It's a handline fishing device, and you created this.
That is correct. The Yoyito is basically a handline reel, and it's very small. It's about in fact, I have one right here I can show you. It's 3.5 inches in diameter, and about an inch thick, and it fits in your pocket. It fits in the pockets of your personal flotation device. If you're a kayaker, I usually carry it in my jeans pockets, typically the front ones. I tend to fish with two at the same time, so I'll have one in each pocket. But yes, it's a small version of what is referred to as a Cuban fishing yo-yo, which is a larger handline spool or reel, and it's meant. It works very similar to the way the reel works on a spinning rod. This thing doesn't spin, right? This stays static, just like on your rod. And when you cast it out, the line just comes right off. Just like a spinning reel. You can cast as far as you can cast with a standard rod with a Yoyito, and sometimes farther. And it's got about 250 feet of mono in it. I choose a premium monocle Suffix Siege, which is very slick and very nice on your fingers, because after all, you're reeling with your hands. And you can, it has enough line and line weight to go after most things that are in the water.
Really cool. So you then got the idea to start this contest because you noticed it being used up north?
That is right. So the contest was a way to interact with the ice fishing community, and to inject some fun into an otherwise just a product test. I mean, I was reasonably sure that the Yoyito and the materials that it's made out of were going to work just fine in a nice fishing environment. But before we actually marketed for such a purpose, I wanted to make sure that folks that are really experienced doing this could have an opportunity to test it and give us feedback, find out if there's anything we need to do in order to improve it, or whether the product as is meets their needs. And so far the feedback has been fantastic. In fact, we're during this broadcast, we're going to have an opportunity to talk to some of those folks and hear directly from them. What it was like to actually use it. In fact, some of the folks that are actually on the leaderboard right now, holding positions with some pretty decent-sized fish, were actually caught using the Yoyito.
Excellent, excellent. So that is really cool. As somebody that knows you, I have to say I appreciate the choice you're making for actually doing the whole business and manufacturing process of making it a whole family thing. And listen, we're going to get into a lot more about that later, but I know that one of the people you connected with through forming this contest and all of the things about it is August from Last Electric Rodeo, August Wenger, and he's here with us tonight too. If you don't mind, August, you want to say hello to people and tell us a little bit about Last Electric Rodeo Band and what it's all about, because that's going to be a fascinating thing to discover as we go through this next 4 hours of contest festivities. And you're on, August.
Sure. All right. Well, let me just start by saying thank you for having me. This was a completely random left field request, but once I discovered the Yoyito site and the fishing tournament and the live feed that we're doing, the platform for all this, it would just seem really exciting. And so I'm just very appreciative to be here in this first installation. And yeah, I can see this this whole thing becoming worldwide and lots of fun. So I hope this one goes great and that we get a great response, and look forward to where this is all going. Yoyito and Benny, as one of the sponsors, when he was discussing the idea with me, he was saying how he wanted, possibly music and art to be a part of this, and I thought that was a really cool idea. And I said, I've done lots of theater, and would you want, someone that doesn't necessarily know a whole lot about ice fishing for a fishing enthusiast, but did he want someone, else, another type of personality on the program? And he said yes, so that's why I'm here. Last Electric Rodeo is a project that I've been working on for the last year. We put together the music and came out with an album in August, and now we're getting the live performance together. And this particular music that you're going to hear today is from our album that's called Last Electric Rodeo Part 2. And we started in the middle of the story, kind of like George Lucas did with Star Wars, just to get the concept out there. And that concept is essentially a post-apocalyptic spaghetti western wasteland. It's in the not-too-distant future, maybe between the 2030s and 2050. And essentially everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And the rodeo is all that's left of the world that was. So if you are witnessing a Last Electric Rodeo show, you're essentially with the rest of the end time survivors. So each show night, we call it Revelry, and we talk and sing about what brought us to these end times, but even in these end times we can still rejoice that we're still alive and that we still have each other. And as the program goes on, I'm happy to share more about the background of the story. All of the songs are full of really colorful characters that we've written into the songs and into the storylines, and that we actually do bring to life as well on stage. And so I think as we go on, I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and we are going to play some snippets from the album Last Electric Rodeo, and I do thank you for being here and supporting the whole Yoyito festivities. Full disclosure, and I think we would all nod vigorously if we were all on camera at the same time. All three of us are really in the process of learning about ice fishing. That none of us are really experts on the topic, and we are going to be tapping some of the fans that have been in the contest, excuse me, in the show, in the contest, and bring them live onto the show and actually begin to get a little bit more information about how the Yoyito is being used. Also, we're going to be playing songs from the Last Electric Rodeo album, and that's going to be exciting. And right now, I am also going to entertain you with a joke. So prepare yourself for uproarious laughter. I would like to know from our panel of experts here, and this is a fishing joke, so this is a question you have to answer. What do you call a fish with no eyes?
I don't
Anybody?
know. A blind fish?
How about that completely spontaneous laughter was from our huge studio audience, and I'd like to thank them also for being here. It's a real pleasure to have all you guys with us. Anyway, so how about if the first thing we do is set the stage? Benny, can you tell us a little bit about where this contest is taking place, and then perhaps give us a weather report, because I know that there's people out there fishing right now.
Yeah, well, Joe, this is basically taking place all over the place. It's not one particular location. Typical fishing tournaments are usually in a specific lake or a specific location. This is basically online. Most of the participants are actually from the state of Minnesota, and they're fishing in various places there. But we also have participants in Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, and basically other areas that have good ice to fish from. In terms of the weather here, now the weather turns out to be a fantastic day, at least from my point of view. It looks very much like Florida weather. Temperature is going to be in the mid-30s for most of the region. There's only one storm to speak of that seems to be moving across, but it's not going to affect the general area where the folks are participating from. And it looks like the lookout for the weather for the rest of the day looks pretty amazing too. So they're probably fishing on their T-shirts right now as we speak. I don't know.
Yeah. So thank you very much. The deal is too. You and August are recent connections in terms of this. Can you tell us a little bit about how you met?
How I met August?
August, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of backstory.
A little backstory.
Yeah.
All right. So I actually met August is my daughter's friend, my daughter Amanda, and so she's the one who knew him first, and she lived for a little while in Daytona area, and I actually met August for the first time on my daughter's wedding, where he came to be part of the celebrations there. And we struck friendship, and we've been, like I just told my daughter today in front of you guys, I feel I have the right to appropriate my daughter's friends, just because I'm her dad. So,
right.
There's August, and put them to work, by the way.
Yeah, I'm honored. Yeah, I did meet Benny at Amanda's wedding, and I saw this guy. I was like, this guy looks like an interesting character, so I'm gonna go hang out with him. And I was talking to him, just striking up a conversation, because really Amanda and her friend were the only ones I knew there. And then lo and behold, it was Amanda's dad. So.
How about that? Yeah, Benny does tend to attract people. He's a interesting character. So I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, actually, today, and we have you know, the lineup of sponsors is Last Electric Rodeo. It is Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine and Emlet.com. And if Mikhail is available, is Mikhail available, Benny? Do you know?
Yes, he is. He's actually right there. I see him in the little room.
Oh.
I'm going to bring him right into the broadcast right now.
Okay.
Hi, Mikhail.
So Mikhail, hi, welcome aboard. Are you there?
All right, so hang on just a second because we may have a little bit technical difficulty there with the sound. Let's let Mikhail work out the sound real quick, and we'll bring him right back.
Okay, so our sponsors are Emberlit.com, and they are manufacturers of. Well, I'm going to let Mikhail tell that, so I'm just going to save that for a little bit. But also Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine, and of course Last Electric Rodeo, and of course the man of the hour and the product of the hour, FishingYoyito.com. So and it could not be done without all the fans out there. So most importantly, we'd really like to give a shout out to all the people out there on the ice. And I learned a new term today. It's not actually called ice fishing, is it?
No, they actually refer to it ice water fishing, which I thought that was a very interesting term. You know, it gives it a.
Is it ice water or hard water?
I'm sorry, hard water fishing. Thank you for correcting me. I just knew.
Well, I learned it today, so it's fresh.
Right.
It's fresh in my mind, and that kind of highlights the fact that we are a bit novices at the whole ice fishing genre. So if you're already out there on the ice, you can still get into the contest. Just go to fishingyoyito.com and submit your entry. And a note on safety: it is ice, and I'm sure that all the people out there experienced know how to be safe. But we want to encourage everybody to be really safe out there. So, Mikhail, are you here?
I hope so. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
good.
you are. Welcome aboard. Hey, Mikhail is from Emberlit. Am I saying your name right?
Yep, close enough, Mikhail.
Mikhail, can you tell us a little bit about Emberlit, how that got started, what exactly I saved the description for you to be able to tell what your product is all about and how it serves the fishing world and beyond. So give me the skinny on what's going on.
Really what it is just a place for me to kind of get all my crazy ideas out into the world. I started with designing a stove, a little wood-burning stove, and from there I've just started designing anything else that happens to catch my fancy.
Nice. So what are your main anchor products that you put out, and where can people find them?
Okay, well, number one would be the Emberlit stove. That's the flagship. It's a collapsible wood-burning stove. You can put it in your pocket when you're done. You make them out of stainless and titanium, and what's nice about them is you don't have to carry fuel necessarily with you when you go out camping or fishing or hunting. You can just use what's free and available anyways. It burns sticks and twigs and other biomass, but it just makes it a lot more convenient and a heck of a lot more efficient than using an open campfire.
Mikhail, can you give us a sense of the size for the folks that are not, that are watching and stuff like that? How big or how small are the actual stoves?
That big.
Wow, that's amazing.
So these are full size. This is one of my shiny prototypes in stainless, but they stand about 6 inches tall. And when they're done, when you pack it all the way down flat, actually I'll do that real quick. And this one doesn't have doesn't have the base plate attached to it because I was using it on my computer. So that is essentially the entire stove packed away.
That's amazing. That's the most ultra portable device of its kind I've seen so far.
Yeah. And so that's what I started with. Make the stoves, but I'm an endless tinker. I'm coming out with a new product this week, in fact, that I've been working on for a while. Because you figure stoves lead to cooking, and cooking leads to eating, and so it'd be nice to have appropriate utensils for eating as well. And I don't know, should I share this one now or should I hold it on?
I think maybe we should hold off a little bit for don't let's reveal them, over a period of time, because you have amazing. I mean, it isn't just a stove. You have a whole line of products that are just absolutely amazing.
And yeah, like I said, I don't want to jump the gun.
Yeah. So, what made you become like an entrepreneur? What was it that drove you? Are you the kind of be your own boss sort of guy? Is that?
Looking back, I think I was, just because I was a terrible employee, so I had to be the boss. No, I've always liked doing my own thing. I've always liked pushing my own way, I guess you could say. And honestly, the whole starting a business was more of an accident than anything. I'd been through some pretty rough employment with some pretty unhappy bosses, and I was looking for anything I could to support my family. And like I said, I'm always tinkering, building my own camping equipment, and I thought, hey, maybe I'd sell something and see if it helped a little bit, if anything. And surprise, surprise, the stoves were an instant hit. I couldn't believe how well they sold, and so it's just from there on. I've seen the formula. I've seen how it works, how you can bring a product to market, and it's almost like a mathematical formula now. And so I wouldn't trade it for the world. But yeah, it was honestly, I'm succeeding despite my own ineptitude, and it's been absolutely wonderful because it's opened the door for me to just really explore all those creative urges, those desires to make stuff, to tinker with things. I mean, while I'm sitting here talking with you guys, I'm actually like taking measurements on a knife I just made. Do I sell knives? No, but I just made it, so I like the handle, so I'm actually here measuring it so I can make it again. But that's just my nature. I'm always trying to build or make something.
Yeah, so I know, Benny, you too are an entrepreneur, and I think, and I have my own entrepreneurial background as well, but when I know that when I got into doing my own thing, that I discovered that the task was the boss. That even though you didn't have an employer anymore, your market and like that made demands on your time. So at least you could, structure a little bit, and I think it takes a certain kind of mindset, a rugged mindset, and I do think too that the people out there on the ice probably share a bit of that entrepreneurial spirit, regardless of their background, because going out there and braving the ice is not an easy task. So, Benny, do you want to tell people a little bit more about the contest and what it's all about here?
Yeah, so the contest, basically, we have two categories for the contest. We have a game fish category that includes northern pike, walleye, and bass, and we consider those game fish. And then we have a panfish category that includes sunfish, crappie, and boy, I'm pulling a blank here. Perch, yes, that's right. The ones that we don't have in Florida, basically, and apparently, from what I've been told, are the best eating fish they have. So it's one of those things where now I have to try them and see what it's all about. But yeah, yellow perch is the third one, and it started. We started the contest last Saturday, basically, and we've had many people sign up. We have several submissions. We have a leaderboard going. Basically, what we're doing is that when we find a submission, an entry that actually is within the top 10, we're adding them to the leaderboard and we're posting that update. But the day's young. There's still a few hours left, and the registration is still open. And the tournament is basically free. Basically, it costs nothing to participate. So if you're already out in the ice and you're fishing anyway, why not participate in the tournament? After all, we have prizes. We have this great sponsors that we have here that are I've donated prizes to make it a little bit more fun. Even though I know from talking to the various folks and talking to the team members, the Fishing Yoyito team members, that these guys don't fish for money. They don't fish for prizes. They fish for other reasons. Other reasons actually drive them out there to the ice. You know, there's pride, there's love and passion for the outdoors, and you know, it's ice fishing is huge in Minnesota and surrounding areas. I mean, and I can't wait to actually try it myself. I mean, there's something just very alluring of going out there into that frozen landscape, you know, digging a hole in the ice and all of a sudden pulling out monsters to that little hole. It's just fascinating to me. So, you know, perhaps, you know, next season I'll be able to, you know, give it a try and see what it's like.
Very cool. So I want to take a time here again to thank Last Electric Rodeo for being here, and also give a plug to their website. It is lastelectricradio.com, if I am correct. Is that correct, August?
LastElectricRodeo.com, yeah.
Excellent. So so we have a little bit of information about the contest, and I noticed that you didn't have your notes in front of you there, Benny, but you missed the perch category. But that inspires me to well, okay, I'll be honest here, subject you to another joke, and here we go. So a couple of birds are sitting on a perch, and one looks at the other and says, "Do you smell fish?" All right. Okay, it wasn't that funny. Fair. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Completely. Again, I'd like to thank our studio audience for their enormous participation. We couldn't value. Listen, we probably ought to get into a little bit about what handline fishing is for anybody out there who might be listening, who is new, and more specifically, tell us about the Yoyito. So you're on, Benny. Can you give us a little bit about your experience with handline fishing, the whole genre in general?
Yeah. So I basically, I mean, I grew up in South Florida handlining. Handlining it consists of basically a reel, usually a round reel. It could be a flat reel, and no rod. You just use the line, the hook, the weight, and you know, as a young boy, I learned how to fish that way. In fact, I would say that the big chunk of the calories, you know, the proteins that we consumed at the time came from fishing from the bridges in Miami. You know, as a young boy and as an immigrant in this country, I did that for a long time. Eventually, I you know, bought rods and you know, started to do other types of fishing and so on, and I ended up coming back. You know, I went through a process where I moved. I was living out in California. I was out there for work, and moved back to Florida. Wanted to do more of the homestead type deal, you know, grow our own food and what have you, and was not very successful at the growing the food part, you know. So I was looking for other ways that were more efficient ways of acquiring food and nutrition and so on. Realized that we're surrounded by about 600 lakes in the area, so I took up fishing again, and I started. I really got into it, and anyway, out of that process, you know, got into handlining really heavily again. But in its essence, handlining is a Stone Age method of fishing. I mean, people have been handlining for a very long time. In fact, I would say more fish are caught on handlines with line and hook around the world than using any other method. Most of the people who actually subsist on fish and fishing, they're using a handline. So that's handlining in a nutshell.
So handlining handlining as it relates to Yoyito, can you help us understand a little bit about how that, the device works, and just give a little, and for the listening audience out there, you're going to have to be, verbally visual. So if you can just sort of describe that for us, that would help.
So as it relates to the Yoyito is a handline reel or handline spool. It's a round spool about 3.5 inches in diameter, and then it carries your line, and that's basically all you really need to go fishing. I mean, we offer in a kit, and you can rig it whichever way you want, but the reel with a hook, optionally some sort of weight and some bait, it's all you really need to go fishing. I mean, but basically what I took the idea of, how can we simplify fishing in general, and I removed everything that I consider to be extraneous or not absolutely necessary, and what I was left with was this little spool that you see right here. I've had people look at it, and the first impression is like, well, that looks just like the spool where my line comes in, but actually it is not. It's a lot more analogous to the spool on a spinning reel, because there is a cone in it, in front of it, that has a very specific angle, we basically spend a lot of time perfecting that to minimize the friction on the cone. That's what gives the Yoyito the ability to cast so far, compared to a traditional Cuban yo-yo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do you use standard hooks and leaders and baits and all of that? Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
I personally prefer circle hooks for most things, but yeah, you can basically outfit it with anything you want. I mean, I've used it to, with soft plastics, with top lures, with crank type of lures, spoons, trolley with them behind the boat or the kayak. For example, for crappie, I'll use a little jig and a bobber, and I'll drift across the lake on my kayak, or I'll be fishing from the bank, more like in the summer for panfish, also with a little bobber. So anything that you can do with a regular rod, you can do with a handline in general, and you have to consider that and I've done this. I've done several surveys across a lot of anglers, to try to get a feel from them what they consider to be the most important thing, to be a successful fisherman. And pretty much universally, everyone agrees that the most important thing is know where the fish are. So know about your fish, their habits, where they tend to be, and so on. Within the various bodies of water, the presentation, and the bait or lure they use. Basically, the main thing is to know where the fish are and the stuff that's below the water line. The fish really don't care how much money you spend on your equipment, and regardless of what kind of equipment you have above the water, your performance is going to be pretty much similar. You can sit there on the bank and you can be fishing for 6 hours and not catch a thing because there's no fish there, or you're using the wrong bait, or you're using the wrong lure, and so on. But in terms of performance, I think handlining by far is the most cost-effective way to fish, because like I said, the important thing is what's below the water. What is above the water, it's something you put money into and not necessarily see additional benefits from.
So if I can ask a wide angle question here, what made you decide to become an entrepreneur and get a business started and go through all this? Because speaking from experience, that's not an easy process to do. It is in some ways, I guess, easier to, and we talked to Mikhail earlier, and he said he likes being his own boss, and that's his best fit for the world. How about yourself? What drove you to become an entrepreneur and do this whole Yoyito project? Because my guess is it can't be easy, but maybe it is for you. But share a little bit about what the experience is like and what drove you to want to do that, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, for me, I was out in California for about 8 years working at a big tech company, and I've been in technology. I'm a software engineer by trade, I am self-taught. I learned things by reading basically. But I worked out as a software engineer at an eBay property. I was out there for some time, and I really enjoyed my work very much. Work was not the issue for me. The most important thing to me was that I feel that the single most valuable resource we have as a human being is time, and how we spend that time, and what do we do with that time, and regardless of how long we live, that time is short. And I simply wasn't spending enough time with my family, with my daughter. I have grandkids. They were going to grow up, and I was not going to see them grow up. Even though I was out there with my wife, most of my day was spent with other people, was not with my wife, and I wanted to do something different. I wanted to come down. I basically decided to leave all that behind, come down to Florida. We got a place out in the forest, with several dwellings and stuff like that. I brought my parents in. I brought my daughter, my son-in-law, my grandkids, my wife, and it started out kind of like a homesteading type project. Where we all get to work together, see each other every day, and enjoy the time that we have, whatever that is, or that much is, working together. So the Yoyito and the entrepreneurial part really is to support the lifestyle that I want to have. It's not, it's a means to an end, if you will. I'm also, I also feel very strongly that, we as human beings need each other. We are not, we think we're a lot more independent than we really are, and we need each other, and I'm a firm believer in community values and things like that. So when it came to come up with, designing a business or come up with how we're going to make a living down here, I wanted to do something that could be done locally, that could involve as many people as possible. And to that end, not only is, my parents are working in the Yoyito project, and they have a part to play, and my wife and my daughter and so on, but my neighbors are also involved. My neighbors on one side are casting Yoyitos as we speak. My other neighbors are helping us with the bags and so on. And my vision for the future is basically to scale that up. Look, not to get into politics, but a lot of people are always constantly talking about well, the government does this or does that. Nobody's going to help our situation. We must help ourselves. I mean, if we're talking about America has gone the wrong way or what have you, if you feel that way, I say taking back America one job at a time, and that is by building something here and participating in that type of collaborative effort that we're going to move this thing forward.
Mikhail, how does that compare to the reason that you became an entrepreneur? Do you feel like you have some more value to contribute that way?
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of Benny and I, we actually parallel in a lot of respects. Again, the experience gained from working from very stressful places is honestly why I'm here. I wouldn't get rid of that. I had to go through that pain to understand, a little bit more about my goals and what was precious in life. But yeah, it's like I wouldn't trade the time for anything. It's like my friends, my family, they look at it and they wonder why I work so hard, why I'm up so late, why I do so much. For my own business is because it's mine. It's my time, and like Benny said, it's a means to an end. It's so I can have that time to spend with my family, to have that time to spend doing the things I'm passionate about and the things that actually bring me joy in life. Working at a desk for somebody else, it's nice on occasion, but all I did was daydream about being outside fishing. All I did was think about being outside camping and being able to actualize and realize my own passions and my own dreams. And I got to tell you, working for a company, it might feel like security, but all it means is you don't get to see it coming. The bosses, they understand what's going on, and you as an employee, well, if it's time to go, they're going to hold you until they have no use for you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying the risk that people perceive with entrepreneurial work. They think there's a risk when you go to be an entrepreneur, but what they don't realize is they're already at risk in their day job. It really is no difference, except I'm working towards my own goals rather than the goals of another company. And so you know, I'm building this. I've got you know, friends, I've got family involved in this, and ultimately I'm realizing the freedom that I never had working for another individual. And so for me personally, this is what works. I mean, I find passion in what I do. I find excitement in designing, you know, like my silly little stove and all my utensil stuff. What Benny hasn't told you guys, which is kind of funny, is the way that I found the Yoyito fishing reel is I'm actually doing research on what's available on the market, because I have been developing a handline fishing reel too, because I grew up handline fishing. And so I was searching for what's out there, and I found Benny's Yoyito on the internet. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is a genius. He made something that was perfect. And so I immediately bought it, and then I texted him out of the blue because I just wanted to tell him how cool the Yoyito was from a perspective of another guy who grew up handlining. And so that's that passion, that connection, because, you know, yeah, I'm going to make my own handline, but I don't see it as any sort of competition with what he's got. I mean, it's, you know, it's different, but it's a family, and I found that I tend to connect more with other people that have that same passion for self-actualization, for building something of value of their own, rather than depending on somebody else to make a livelihood. And so it's hard to describe, but I wish I figured it out 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was actually when Mikhail reached out to me, it was amazing. It was great. You know, this guy. So I talked to him on the phone, and he's giving me all his praises about the Yoyito, and I'm like, I'm blown away. You know, it's like, oh my God. And then we started talking, and turns out we have a million things in common. You know, not just handlining, but just, you know, there's a lot of affinity there. So I'm very glad that you know, and then I called him back a few days later, and I told him about the tournament, and he's like, sure, you know, let's do it. You know, I'll help. Hey, you can have these prizes, you know, and it's just, you know, the dynamics it is fantastic.
Yeah, we do thank you for being here and keeping us. That's emberlit.com, is it?
Yeah, just emberlit.com, EMBERLIT.com. So it's yeah, it's my website. I feel so sheepish. I know I'm like running a business, but I get all self-conscious when people point at, you know, like, oh yeah, go to Emberlit.
Yeah, well, listen, I think that your passion speaks for itself, and that's something else I noticed about entrepreneurs is they're so passionate about creating the value that it does feel a little sheepish when you have to actually present the product to the public. I know that was one of my struggles as well, and you know, you kind of got to overcome that a little bit if you really feel valuable about the product, because if you build the world's best mousetrap, even though it's in the middle of the woods, nobody's coming. That's the reality. You have to actually get it out there. So it is things like this, and you know, building a fan base and all of that, but that doesn't mean that there are some people that oversell the hype, I think, but you guys seem to have the real McCoy, the products that actually do come in handy. I know when I saw them, one of the thoughts that I had in my mind is just how portable the whole thing is, that you can actually pack that stove away in your backpack, or the Yoyito, and both in your backpack. You can go out hunting, fishing, camping, post the Yoyito by the side, get a fire going, and have a fish on the hook when you come back after pitching your tent, and you know, and cook it right there on the skillet. So it just seemed to me like that the products do have some real value and a niche in the industry. So by the way, Mikhail, did you catch that fish behind you with the Yoyito?
No, that poor guy. I have tested lures on him. He's like a bulldog. He'll like, actually he's pretty well fed, but he's my finger up to about the second knuckle before. He's a good little fish. But no, I was gonna say, and I sense this from Benny too. Is like every one of my stoves I put out, I feel personally responsible for. Because when you're talking about product, you know, the things that I build are things that I wanted for myself originally. It's gear that I wanted for myself, and a lot of, you know, the items and the gear and so on, they stem from even earlier interactions with like my parents and so on. My mom tells me stories of cooking at the farm where they get those number 10 cans, and they would just poke holes in them, and then they would get a little, stove going in there. And so that's kind of my angle, is reaching back to a lot of these tried and true principles and just making them more convenient, more accessible to today's people out there that are looking for this stuff. In fact, the hand lines, I have been fishing with a hand line since I was a little kid, because my uncles would just take a pop can or whatever, and they would wrap some string around it and go, here, there you go. And it's a cultural thing. It's a family thing. I mean, ironically, Benny's from a little island in the Caribbean, and I just happen to be from the island next door. and so so that's another point of these products. It's not just simply something that you put on a shelf and try to sell. It's an expression of myself. It's an expression of my culture. It's an expression of my history. And so that's another reason why I get really kind of sheepish, is because it's me out there. It's not just something I bought from China or whatever. I'm putting a piece of me out there, and I really want people to be happy with it. And I'm incredibly grateful to customers and fans and so on, because it allows me again to realize what I'm doing in my life and to enjoy that success. But yeah, it gets kind of awkward sometimes when people recognize you on the street. They're like, hey, you're the Emlet dude. It's like, yeah, who wants to know? but that's really what it is. It's, as an entrepreneur, you put part of yourself out there. You're putting your reputation, you're putting your principles, and it's you. And the bottom line, it's you. You're taking that risk.
Yeah, excellent. So one of the things that we're going to try to do here is definitely connect with the people who are in the contest itself. And I have queued up here Jonathan Steer from Hastings, Minnesota. And Benny, if you could pull up a little bit of information about him, and I'm going to attempt to get him on the line here a little bit. And in the interim, if you could just have the chat about being entrepreneurial in the industry, I will attempt to get Jonathan on the line.
Are you waiting for me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I am, sir. Yes, I am.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Listen. This is the first time I ever do this, so I'm learning here, and I tend to fall asleep at the wheel from time to time. So please forgive me. John Steer is a participant here in the tournament, and he has a really nice pike submission. He's actually holding at this point, and we keep updating this. The situation keeps changing, but right now he's on second place with a very nice looking pike. You can view that if you go to the leaderboard on the Fishing Yoyito website. You can see his catch. Let's give him a call and let's talk to him. Let's find out what he's doing, and see how not only what he's doing but how he's doing it. So.
Okay, guys, I do have Jonathan on the air, and I'm going to need to pull my thing so that he can hear us all speak. I'm hoping that we don't get any technical difficulties here, but say hi there, Jonathan.
Hey, how's it going?
Can you all hear him?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear him fine.
Very, very good. So you're out on the ice now, or where are you?
No, I'm at home. I didn't go out fishing today. I'm leaving for Vegas tomorrow, so I didn't have time to get out today or yesterday because my dog got put to sleep. So it's been since Friday.
I'm very sorry to hear that. That's a family member. That's no joke at all. That is very sad. I'm very sorry for you. So, but can you help us a little bit with can you help us understand how you got started fishing?
Well, I don't really remember. I have photos of myself being 2 or 3 years old, standing at the end of the dock, holding a fishing pole. So I've been fishing pretty much my entire life. My grandfather kind of got me into it. As far as ice fishing goes, I started ice fishing when I was a teenager because I love fishing a lot, and going a season without fishing wasn't really working anymore, so that's when I started ice fishing too. So.
Excellent. So you have fishing like in your blood from birth.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So how often do you go fishing?
Well, it all depends on my work schedule. Wintertime slows down a lot for me, so I do a lot more fishing in the winter than I do in the summer.
Okay.
However, in the summer I do go out after work because the hours or the daylight hours are longer. So I live right next to the water, so I go out pretty much daily if I can. Wintertime is at least 3 times a week. Sometimes I go every day. I fished every day for 2 weeks up until Friday. Going out every day. So it's never really a set schedule. It's just kind of when I can fit it in.
So you have a favorite kind of fishing? Is it summer, winter?
I don't know. I kind of like them equally both. It's hard to beat a nice warm summer evening cruising in a boat. Then again, sitting on the ice, just listening to music with the heater going and watching the Vex while they're pulling fish up through the ice. It's a lot less work because you just sit there and enjoy it as compared to driving around, but they're both equally as enjoyable.
So what would you say was your most exciting fishing experience, if you don't mind sharing that?
That's pretty tough. Probably one of the best times was up in Canada with my dad, and I don't remember the exact length of the fish, but it was a high 40s muskie that he caught right after a fun-filled day of just catching a ton of walleyes. So we decided to go northern fishing, and during northern fishing he caught, I believe it was a 48-inch muskie. So watching that coming out was pretty cool.
Neat. Yeah, that is cool. Do you have any advice out there for somebody interested in getting fishing, in getting into fishing who hasn't been?
Just all you really need is the basics. Rod, reel, and hooks and a bobber, and then it's all downhill from there. You start buying electronics and more fishing poles and more lures, and it's addicting once you get that first big fish.
Very cool. So how does the fishing this year compare to other years? Is this a good year?
For me personally, this year's been a little bit slower than like last year was. Not exactly sure why, because some of the main areas that I fish don't get any pressure really, just from me and a couple of friends. It's been a little bit slower, but we're still out there catching them and having fun, so not much to complain about.
Yeah, well, thanks. Does anybody else have any questions for Jonathan?
Yeah, well, I wanted to make a quick comment. And I'm getting a little angry. I don't know if you hear me.
I can't silence myself.
Yeah. I'll let you ask the questions then.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is sort of we're flying a little bit by the seat of our pants here, Jonathan. So apparently there's some technical issues if other people ask the questions, but I do appreciate the fact that you did come on. Have you done much line or handline fishing?
No, I haven't actually. I've been mostly just rod and reel. But I would definitely be interested in trying because I go for all different species of fish. So it'd be kind of interesting to catch some big ones on that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So you are interested in getting into handline fishing or trying it out?
No, yeah, absolutely. In the summertime, I go catfishing out on the river all the time. So I think reeling in a big catfish on one of them would be a blast.
Okay. All right. So Benny, do you want to? Oh, okay. He did actually fish me the. Do you have any memories there of friends and family fishing that you'd like to share? I mean, is that an important part of the experience? Is the emotional connection to fishing as well as just the fact that it's practical and fun?
I don't know. Actually, about 90% of the time I go fishing by myself with my dog. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just like being out. I just like being outside. I hate being inside the house. So whether it's out fishing or working in the garage, just being outside is the most important thing to me.
Yeah. So you don't suffer from nature deficit disorder like some of our more slightly angry friends who are in the white boxes all the time. So, okay.
I stay outside as much as I can.
Very, very good. Well, I do thank you for sharing your experience and being with us on the show. And I again apologize for being a little late to the party here. So, thank you very much for sharing. And I hope you win.
Well, last I looked, I was in second place. So hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully it holds true. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are going to be reviewing the leaderboard, I guess, later in the show. Is that correct, Benny?
Yeah, that's correct. We will be posting an update in a little while, and we'll see where we are at that point. I mean, we're still getting entries in. We've also added an additional prize that this being my first experience doing this. I didn't think well enough how all the various different games that we could have. So now there is an additional prize for the most submissions. So folks are still sending entries in, for that prize, and because it's fun. It's fun to share. I mean, fishing is a individual type sport in some aspects, but it's also a social type sport. So we will be updating soon.
Social as in trash talk. Because that's what me and my buds do when we fish.
Yeah. I guess there is a lot of bragging right thing going on in some fishing, but yeah, I guess a lot of different people draw on different experiences from fishing. Some are more of a community thing of going out with the guys and doing the thing and bragging, and then some connecting with nature and having some time to think and reflect. And I guess it is a kind of a versatile sport in that it can be both team and solitude, communing with nature, however you want to call it.
Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. Well, again, Jonathan, I do appreciate the fact that you did take the time to share your stories with us, and I hope you win.
No problem.
All right. I will catch up to you later. Thanks. Good luck.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
All right, that was great. I mean, it's actually pretty amazing that if you guys think about it for a minute, that we actually have the technology and the ability to connect to people like this across the country and even the world. It's. I mean, there are not a whole lot of opportunities for me to connect people who ice fish here in Florida. Let's just say that, right?
I'm admiring that fish.
Yeah, did you see the leaderboard? That
is a big pike to pull in on a handline, I presume.
Oh my gosh! Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the one that I saw that you showed me earlier, Benny? The pike that got reeled in, and whoever it was that took the video.
Well, that was actually another one. We don't have a video of John doing it, but they're all. I mean, look at that leaderboard. They're all huge. Not just the pikes, but the walleyes and just. I mean, just the whole concept that there's a little hole, guys. There's a little hole on the ground. The hole is probably no more than like 8 inches wide. 10 inches wide or something like that. And out of this little hole, without having access to the water in any other way, they're pulling this huge fish out of the water. It's just, I'm blown away. I just, I want to do it. I want to try it.
Yeah,
I would if it wasn't raining. But I've got a friend. He's a professional bass fisherman, out in North Carolina, and so he's got the bass boat, the pretty truck, and goes out and he does the tournaments and everything like that. And I went and visited him this summer, and I brought my hand lines, and it was funny. Even the small fish that we pull in, he had so much fun doing that. He swore to me, he goes, "From here on out, I'm only going to handline fish," and it's I mean, that's the whole point. It's just the enjoyment. It's the the surprise. It's people wonder why you'll sit for hours staring at a little hole in the ice. What's so cool about it? Any little bubble, anything, any little indicator that there might be something messing with your bait. But it's I know, it's something magical about it, and the handline aspect of it puts you right in direct connection with that fish. You feel when they brush by the bait with the side of their body. You feel everything.
Oh, absolutely. You feel when they grab that bait and they don't get the hook, and they rip it off, they pull it. You feel the bait tear as they rip it off the hook. To me, it's a very exhilarating way to fish. I mean, I fish exclusively with handlines now. I have gone through phases where I fish with rods and done other things, but I'm telling you, if you haven't pulled in a big bull red or a big fish with your hands, you're definitely missing out, because it's like hunting boar with a knife, or hunting elk with with a simple longbow. It just gets you that much closer to the action, in a way that is difficult to type of experience is difficult to get any other way. So absolutely, and I've seen Mikhail's rig there. He showed it to me. I mean, it's only a shame that he lives so far away, because we're all live far away, except the only one I'm actually live close to is August, which I am going to have to take him fishing after this shortly, because we've talked about it and we have yet to do it, but we must do it. But it's a shame that the rest of you guys are so far away, because that's something I would love to do with you guys. Go out there and try our luck and see if we can land something big.
So handline fishing does compare a bit differently to rod in a lot of different ways. And you said that you get a more intimate flavor for that. But how does it compare to the rod in terms of utility? In other words, if you've got a big one on the line, is it easier or harder to pull in?
That's a good question. On one hand, you don't have the benefits of the shock absorption of a fishing rod. You also don't have the drag on a reel or a mechanical way to retrieve your line. And so you have to be a lot more sensitive to the fish that's on the line as far as give and take, because you don't have you don't have that buffer. Essentially, you can take any novice and you can set their drag a pound or two below their line strength, and you're pretty much almost guaranteeing they're not going to break their line, because the fish will just keep running until he gets tired, and then they'll just pull him in and keeps running. So with a hand line, I found personally that you have to be a lot more sensitive to what the fish is doing. You got to play them a lot more. Over the summer, I hooked into a very large red drum down there in North Carolina on my hand line. It took me almost 15 minutes to land it. And it was a really big fish, but I could feel that line just stretch. And it starts making noise like a piano wire. Just you could play a song on it. It gets so tight, and then you have to give the fish line. Then you got to wait for the tire. And as soon as you feel him tired, you're trying to pull it in as fast as you can. And it's a much more level fight, I would say. And even small fish, even little crappie or a little perch or and even trout, for heaven's sakes. I like fishing for trout out here in Utah with my hand lines all the time. Little high mountain streams and so on, and they feel so much bigger than they actually are on the hand line, because again, you don't have that buffer between you and the fish. And I just found it immensely entertaining. Yeah, as far as a rod and reel, it is a bit more convenient in some respects as far as casting and retrieving and you got to practice a bit with your hand line. But personally, there's a bit of a troll in me where I enjoy hand lining just to mess with my friends who have expensive rigs. Because the bottom line is, you know, if you know the fish and you understand the behavior and you have decent terminal tackle, you're going to outfish the guy who doesn't have a clue what he's doing, but he's got an expensive pole and rod, and that's something that, you know, can be good for a couple laughs.
Yeah, I actually, it's pretty amazing when I first get, particularly if I go to a fishing pier, there's a lot of people, when I first walk in there, they're giving me weird looks, you know. And as soon as I start pulling fish out of the water, I start getting a crowd. You know, they're just amazed. They had no idea that you can do it like that, which is kind of ironic because people have been fishing like this forever. There's really nothing particularly new about handlining. I would even go as far as saying, I mean, I agree with Mikhail that it does take more skill to land big fish with a hand line than you do with a rod, and primarily is the issue of the drag. Your drag basically is your hands, and you have to give line when when the fish is pulling hard, and you have to reel in, and it does take a little bit of practice to be able to reel in quickly with a hand line versus a reel. Basically, anybody can grab a standard rod and reel and reel it in. It does take a little bit more practice, but I think that also adds to the challenge and to the reward. You know, you take away all the superfluous. You take away the bells and whistles. You take away the safety wheels, if you will, and what you're left with is your the angler and the skill set. You know, his ability to actually go out there after whatever it is he's targeting and bring it in. In terms of the actual weight of the fish on the line itself, I find that you do tend to have more mechanical leverage on the fish when you have a hand line than when you actually have a rod. Particularly the longer the rod, a rod is basically a crowbar that the fish has the long end, you have the short one. In fact, if you notice on game, big game fishing when they're going after marlin or things like that, the customer or the fisherman, is reeling it in part of the way, but there's usually a guy who goes to the back of the boat with a pair of gloves and pulls that line in by hand over hand. You just have more mechanical leverage. You don't have that lever and the fulcrum guys, I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not sure that I will ever go back to fishing with a rod at this point. Even for things like surf fishing, for example, which would be one of the most challenging environments for a hand line, simply because a surf rod tends to be anywhere between 10 to 15 feet, so they can cast very far. But even in that situation, I find that additional challenge and just the enjoyment of the simplicity of going after with a hand line just trumps that.
It certainly adds a new dynamic. I was in North Carolina earlier this summer, again, visiting a friend, and he took me to the beach. So of course I always have my hand lines, and the problem is getting, like Benny's mentioning with those surf casters, you got 2-3 ounces of weight on the end of this 15-foot catapult that you're basically chucking it out past the breakers. And I didn't have that, I didn't have that luxury. I mean, this is the hand line I had with me. It's a standard Cuban yo-yo, and so what I was doing is, at first I started in about waist deep water trying to get out, and I was fishing, and all of a sudden I felt like somebody hit me in the leg with a board, and I looked down, and there's a tail fin by my foot, and about 4 feet back there's a dorsal fin by my leg. About 4 feet back, there's a tail fin. So it's one of them. I don't know what type of shark it was, but apparently it didn't think I was good enough to bite. So that was cool. I was about maybe 15 miles north of where all those poor people were getting bit this summer. I was over at Emerald Isle, so right in that area. And so I figured, okay, well, they didn't bite me now, so I must be good. So then what I started doing is I actually started swimming out past the waves. And I'd get out to where the water was about neck deep, and just, I was just short of where the waves were starting to crash. And then I would sit there, I'd swing the thing over my head, and I would cast it out past the breakers, and then I would just float and tread water with the hand line. I was holding onto the hand line. I'd just sit and float and tread water till I felt something take the line, and then I would I would set the hook and I would swim back to shore, and then I would reel it in and pull it in. I caught a whole bunch of little sharks and a bunch of fish I don't even know the name of. But you know, again, it was fun. It was enjoyable, and all the guys on the shore sitting on their chairs with the umbrellas and just waiting for something to touch their shore casting line. I'm sure they were having fun too, but not as much as I was. You know, the entire beach was watching me. I think they were expecting me to get eaten by a shark or something like that. But you know, as it was already proved, I don't taste that good. But it just, I find it just so much more engaging, and it really is a triumph when you pull at a fish, you know, on just, you know, something like this.
How do the other guys respond to that when you yank in a fish on a hand line and they're out there with you know, basically a rig that you practically need a trailer to yank along with you?
The joke is always, so where's the drag set on that?
Nice.
You know, a lot of them I was surprised they'd never seen it. You know, they're like, where do you get one of those? Where do you see them? I usually carry like 3 or 4 hand lines in my fishing kit, because it's a real good chance I'm going to end up giving one away or selling one to another fisherman, because as soon as they see it, they want one. And but yeah, I was kind of surprised because, you know, like in the Caribbean, I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and you know, like I said, we grew up, you know, Cuban yo-yos, you know, just beer bottles with line wrapped around it. But the hand line is fairly, it's a lot more prominent, you know, down in that area. You know, I figured, you know, being that close to Florida, at least somebody would recognize it. But it's always a delight. When people see it, they don't realize that's an option, and they immediately want to try it. And you know, I do it a lot, actually, when I go fishing on these ponds that have like a 2-fish limit. What I'll do is I'll throw it out, I'll hook one, and then I'll hand the hand line to the nearest kid. Let him pull it in and say, that was fun, wasn't it? Let the fish go and then go catch another one. Because, you know, I'm not actually catching all the 2 fish. But the idea is it's just a fun, it's just fun to share, and everybody that sees it and tries it usually has quite a delight.
August Wenger from Last Electric Rodeo. We haven't heard from you in a while. Do you go fishing?
Yes, I do. And I come from, I was born in Wisconsin, come from a long line of hunters and fishermen. My dad, he actually makes his own fishing rods.
Oh, cool. And
when I told him what I was participating in this with the hand line, he looked into it, and he said, okay, well, I guess that hobby's over with. So I think he's super interested in trying out the hand line and the Yoyito. I've done fly fishing with him, so there's a similar nature, but you know, you do still have the pull, but the finesse of the line and the tug of the fish and when's the right time to pull seems like it would be similar. But yeah, fish here in Florida, in the intercoastal waterways, there's just fantastic fishing all around Florida.
Excellent. I think it's probably a good opportunity here, maybe, to just do a little plug for the sponsors of the tournament here. And you know, I'd like to thank everybody for being here at the first annual Yoyito Ice Fishing Tournament, he said in carnival voice. And we have Mikhail here from Emlet.com, who is the maker of, and Mikhail, why don't you tell us what it is that Emlet does and why it is important to fishermen and backpackers, etc. alike. Uh-oh, you are muted, sir.
I don't know how that happened. It was muted. Sorry, my sign language joke didn't go over well. Anyways,
I got it.
Yeah, I make a packable wood-burning stove. Lets you cook out with wood that's free and available anywhere you are. I even made the joke a little bit too early in Missouri that you could use what's left over your house after the tornadoes tore through it. But the idea is you're always going to find wood and debris to cook your food and boil your water. I also make line of decorative flint and steel, the old style flint and steel like the pioneers had. It's a great educational fire starter, because if you learn how to make fire that way, pretty much any other method is a joke. It's infinitely easier when you understand those principles of spark-based fire lighting. But yeah, that's me just making fun stuff.
Well, thanks. And listen, if anybody else has any questions too. Also, another sponsor is Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine. They are at MidwestHuntFish.com. They have been gracious enough to supply some of the prizes, etc. And Benny, do you want to tell a little bit about the magazine?
Yes, this is a actually this is it's a magazine that covers the Midwest area for hunting and fishing. It's you know, I've looked through it. It looks like it has very well thought out articles. It's a pretty nice magazine for the sport. And Tyler from Hunt and Fish reached out to us. You know, he was interested in taking a look at the product and so on. And I told him about you know, the tournament and this and that, and again, you know, he just like, sure, let's do something. We'll help. We'll participate. So they've graciously agreed to donate magazine subscriptions for the winner. So basically, on the two categories, game fish and penfish category, there are 6 possible winners, because there's, you know, placement 1, 2, and 3 for each category. So each one of them will receive a 12-month subscription from the Midwest Hunt and Fish magazine. You know, we were hoping that Tyler will have a chance to jump in, and maybe, you know, there's still time. He might be able to come in and join us. I know he was very busy with other things, but you know, we're looking forward to see if he can jump in at some point, and he can tell us more about Hunt and Fish magazine. And some of the other projects that he's working on, because I know that they're working hard also on a fishing application, a fishing app for your phone. Sounds very interesting. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see if he can come in and tell us about that.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear about that fishing app. So and that's again at MidwestHuntFish.com. That's where you can find out all the information about the magazine. Of course, Emberlit.com, EMBERLIT. Is where you can find the stoves that Mikhail was talking about. And we also have, of course, Last Electric Rodeo. We have one of the... and can you help me a little bit, August? What is your role in the band, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that? And again, for people that just tuned in, if you recover information, that would be great, because not everybody's going to be jumping in right from beginning to end here. So tell us a little bit about Last Electric Rodeo, the band, what it's all about, and again, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. So how this sort of started, I have a phenomenal guitar player that's I've known for 20 years, and last year he gave me a demo CD of him playing these guitar tracks, about 6 of them. He just wanted to know if the music was viable, if I thought some other musicians in town would want to join him. And I got back to him the next day. I said, do you have a singer and a lyricist? And he said, no, not yet. And I said, okay, well, I already wrote lyrics to 3 of the songs. I just love them so much. His guitar playing is a mixture of Dick Dale and Adele tones. It's Ennio Morricone, who's famous for the spaghetti western reverby guitar sound, and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix. I mean, he just blends so many different guitar sounds together seamlessly. And when I listened to this music, it started evoking this imagery for me, things that I had been interested in creatively for 20 years. When I was a teenager, I loved the zombie genre and the post-apocalypse movies, Terminator, Mad Max. So the music itself really evoked this imagery, and so these lyrics just came pouring out. And it was soon that the story of the rodeo began to develop, and we imagined this world where and kind of in a kitschy way, everything that could go wrong went wrong. The seas began to rise, and insects were swarming. Robots were escaping from factories. Aliens attacking. The return of the plague. We just wanted to leave nothing out that of any possibility of something that could go wrong, and then that left us the Last Electric Rodeo, and our first song on the album, The Last Show on Earth, kind of describes that. So I've been personally involved with writing the lyrics, and I'm a singer for the band, and there's many characters on the album, and we portray those characters. And so I play a character called the Ringmaster, and he's essentially the leader of the rodeo, leading them forever onward into the horizon, trying to escape whatever impending doom was on its way.
And we are at a window now where we do need to call out to one of the people who have who are in the contest. In fact, his name is Michael Nelson. He's from Upper Lake, Michigan, and he's kicking butt with the number of submissions he's got. He's in fact first place in panfish right now. But when we come back, I'd like to play a little song from Last Electric Rodeo, if you don't mind, August. Is it okay to play your?
Sure, please do.
Okay. So, but if you guys could just chat a little bit about handline fishing and all the topics that you have been talking about, I'm going to bail out here just for a little bit and see if I can get Michael Nelson on the line.
Well, I could interject here. Because I just listening to Benny and Mikhail, I just like the nature of getting back to some of these human crafts, these skills that humans probably have had for millions of years, and I certainly allude to a lot of that in our story. I jokingly call our listeners and our fans Stone Agers, because if we were to lose electricity or our modern conveniences, I think 99% of the population would be out of luck and would not be able to fend for themselves. So I just think that making these stoves and making your own flints and knives and this handrail, it just really speaks to getting back to having those skills, because our society is I'm not going to get political here or prophetic, but society is it's very unstable, and anything could go wrong, and we might be back to those times where we would need those skills. So I just think it's an interesting connection between the fictional story, but the reality that exists also.
I'm working on my armored dune buggy, so
awesome.
that, I can roam the wastelands looking for the juice.
Yeah, the Mad Max connection is really strong here. So, hey, we do have Michael Nelson on the line. Can you hear us, Michael?
Yep.
Can everybody hear Michael? Yes. Okay. So if anybody's not muted on the air, if you could mute yourself, just so that we, unless you're talking, so that we can have as clear a connection as we can. So Michael, you are in the contest. How are you doing?
Big crappie on the board. The game fish species has been a struggle for me.
The game fish has been a struggle. Yeah, but I hear you're winning in one of the categories, or at least up there at the top. I can't remember which. Amanda's our producer there, and I don't have the text in first place. In fact, at this point in panfish, that's pretty good for bragging rights. Is this a good year?
This year's actually been terrible compared to last year.
Is that right?
The weather has not been real cooperative.
Okay, so of the years that this is pretty poor, but I guess this is a little bit of bright spot. Do you would you mind if I asked you a few questions about fishing in general?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, tell me how you got started into fishing.
I really cannot tell you. I just remember that ever since I was really young, just had a burning itch to get out as often as I could and try catching bigger fish with my friends, basically.
Well, that is a good way to start it. I have a little note here that are you a guide of some sort? Is that what is it that you do, and how does that work?
I rent out fish houses on Upper Red Lake here in Minnesota, and so basically it's a hotel on ice that you catch fish in.
Excellent, excellent. So how could people get in touch with you? Do you have a website or anything, or?
We do have a website at outdoorauthority.mn.net, or you can look us up on our Facebook page.
Excellent. And what would be the search term that somebody would use to find you on Facebook?
Just Outdoor Authority.
Excellent, excellent. So, this is kind of a weak question for you, but can you tell me how often you do get out to fish? Is it every day? Is it how?
Every day that I want to, basically. I mean, some days a nap sounds a little bit better than fishing for a little bit, but I mean, basically, as long as I'm inside my fish house, I at least got rod reels down, so I'm pretty much always fishing.
Right, right. So what is your favorite kind? Is it winter? Is it summer? Is it on the lake, on the stream? Where is it, and what is it?
It is winter by far. I'm not a huge fan of open water fishing, mainly just because with my summer job, I still have time for it. So I think I only got out open water fishing twice last year.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So ice fishing is your best. Can you tell? We're all trying to get an education here about ice fishing. In fact, we're from our perspective, we're all sort of noobs, and that is even being kind. So if you could help us to get acclimated with what ice fishing is all about, what do you have to do, where do you have to go, and who do you have to know to make that happen, that would be fun for all of us. We're trying to get an education here.
Well, anyone can go with ice fish just like anything else. I mean, as far as where to go, some days you get lost in the first couple holes you drill. There's fish there, and some days you have to go around, stay mobile, and you gotta go and find the fish a little bit. And I've had days where I've drilled in excess of probably right around 200 holes. And all kind of depends on the day, just like anything else. And anyone can really do it. I started doing it when I was probably, I've been ice fishing long I can remember, but went off my own. As soon as I got my license, or as soon as I got my snowmobile's permit, rent snowmobile to the lake, or drive out there, or whatever, and yeah.
Excellent. Can you tell us what your most exciting fishing experience ever was?
I don't know if it's most exciting or funniest or what, but early ice this year, I had this one guy that fished for us. He was from Australia, and he had never been on ice before, and the ice popped real loud one time, and he ran out of the fish house, and I'd never seen a grown man scream as loud as he did. It was pretty funny.
That is so. Is that ice cracking loud? And if somebody has never heard it, it could be pretty scary. Does it jolt you at all? Is it...
I've had places like wake up in the morning when you're permanent, and you gotta re-drill your holes because your holes don't line up anymore.
Oh, no.
You can definitely feel them.
Okay, so the ice can really shift on you. If you're not an experienced person, you might want to bring some extra cleanup stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so do you have advice for anybody that's interested in going fishing? I would imagine ice fishing is not a safe endeavor for people that are not knowledgeable of the process. How would a person who is interested get connected? And how should they get connected with somebody who knows so that they can actually begin to enjoy the sport in a safe and enjoyable way?
Well, YouTube or just television shows is a great way to really get kind of a visual on how to do things and what to do, and or just go out and do it, just trial and error. That's how I found a lot of my success in my life, is just going out and just trying new stuff. Or just, a lot of times I went out there not caught any fish, but it's a learning experience, and it's kind of like anything else. Sometimes the best knowledge you can get is just go out and do it yourself.
Right. So what kind of what do you do to stay warm out there on the ice?
Included bibs, buddy heaters, portables, or your hard houses.
Do some people like to use a little bit of liquid refreshment too out there on the ice, keep warm?
Well, liquid courage definitely doesn't hurt some days.
Right. Right. So, do you have any advice for somebody that's going out on staying warm? Make sure. What if you had to say, here are the things you really need to make sure that you have on your person in order to make sure that you have a nice, safe, warm experience? What would you recommend?
I think a good pair of gloves is about as key as anything, and then extra pairs of socks too, because like for me, I wear mock boots and my feet get so sweaty that I don't get soaking wet, and once I start sitting still, I get pretty cold, and I always carry an extra pair of socks in my truck. Dry feet.
So what's your favorite kind of fish?
Nothing gets to make a good old-fashioned walleye nose.
Okay. Do you have a favorite panfish to eat? A preferred method of preparing it?
Favorite panfish is definitely by far probably bluegill, as far as best tasting. And my favorite way to cook it is just pancake batter, a little bit of onion powder, some garlic salt, and some Lowry's. Just fried up.
Excellent. Excellent. So, well, I really do appreciate you participating in the show. And if you could once again tell people how to get connected with you on Facebook, if that's your preferred method, and/or please mention your website again.
Yeah, you guys can look us up at outdoorauthority.mn.net or our Facebook page and just search Outdoor Authority and it should pop up.
Excellent, excellent. Well, again, thank you very, very much for being on. I appreciate it. And
yeah, thanks for inviting me.
You bet. All right, bye now.
All right, excellent. That was pretty amazing. I actually am dubbing Michael Nelson. I'm changing his name. I'm actually calling him Michael the Fishing Machine Nelson, because he's got a ton of entries and he just seems to be on the fish all the time. And you can't really control whether it's going to be the biggest fish or not on the thing. I think that has a lot more to do with luck probably than you know. But the man can get on fish. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt. Because he just, it's just a stream of photos of caches, panfish, gamefish, pikes, walleyes, and what have you. So that's definitely an experienced and knowledgeable angler right there. So are we going to? I'm actually dying to listen to some music here.
Yeah.
I know that we're supposed to play something out here, and maybe we can get to that.
I think that's a great idea. It would, and I'm queuing up stalling a little bit as I queue it up here. And we have a number of songs here and clips. August, what would you recommend? And maybe if you could help just by setting up, name that tune and help set up what it all means, so that the listening audience can kind of gather a.
Well, sure. You can give me one. What do you got there, and I can give a little bit of description to lead into that.
Okay. Well, I have a full song here, Atomic Beach Bash.
Okay, Atomic Beach Bash.
That sounds interesting to me. So thanks for letting me be the picker.
Okay, great. Yeah, Atomic Beach Bash. This is one of my favorites on the album, and there's something in the surf rock tradition. Lots of different surf rock bands sort of maybe sometimes mention the nuclear age or the coming of the nuclear age, and actually the bikini that we know so well on the beaches. That term comes from a place called Bikini Atoll, and Bikini Atoll was where the first atomic bomb was tested in the United States, and that bomb, its name was code name was Trinity. So I sort of transformed Trinity into a person, and so Atomic Beach Bash is like a beach bop song that you would hear from the Beach Boys or Dick Dale and the Deltones or the Ventures, and I sort of personified two other bombs that were used in World War II, the Fat Man bomb and Little Boy. And so we sort of made this kitschy, fun song that we're making our way down to Atomic Beach, where we're going to have the last party before the big one drops. So there's lots of different references in the song to different books that were written about the atomic age, and then references to aspects of the coming of the nuclear age.
Excellent. So this is Last Electric Rodeo's Atomic Beach Bash.
I think we're having some difficulties with the song coming up.
Okay, are we having technical difficulties here?
Yes, there's no sound coming out actually.
Is there no sound? Okay, we're going to apologize for the dead air, and we're going to go for Plan B right here. So hang on just 1 second. Again, this is Last Electric Rodeo's Atomic Beach Bash. We're going to try it again, folks.
Took a plane from Manhattan, made our way to San Antonio, and just beyond the crossroads, we're all gonna get out when we go. And there, on the right side of beautiful Bikini Atoll, you will feel it when the wind blows. We're all gonna get out when we go. Headed down in infinity, I don't matter than 1,000 suns. She didn't care about me energy, living like a human eternity. Let's go down to the Atomic Beach. Let's go and say hello to the father and the little boy. Let's go down to the sunless sea. Now the times they are a-changing. Now everybody knows we're well beyond the crossroads. We're all gonna get out when we go. And there on the white sand of beautiful Bikini Atoll, you will feel it when the wind blows. We're all gonna get out when we go. To the swing, Atomic Beach Bash. To the fucking cover, Atomic Beach Bash. To the new combo, Atomic Beach Bash. To the top, Atomic Beach Bash. To the hot and hot, Atomic Beach Bash. To the chicken noodle, Atomic Beach Bash. To the fishy tomato.
Well, that was pretty cool. I love that song.
I love that song. Excellent. Very, very nice.
Well, actually, Actually, not because you're here. I gotta say, I just there's, in my opinion, there's not one bad song on that album.
I wouldn't put a bad one on there.
All right. So what's coming next? August. I mean, we're waiting for Tyler to come in, but
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, can you tell me a little bit about? Can you tell me a little bit about you know, what the concept of that song was? You know, what inspired that, and maybe a little bit about the rest of the band members, so we can get a flavor for who it is, and most importantly, where people can get connected, where they can find your music.
Sure. Well, first off, we've got a website that I'm quite proud of. It's lastelectricrodeo.com. I've got all kinds of interactive graphics on there. If you go on there, you can click on any of the characters you see on that front page, and it will bring you to their part of the story. As far as the band goes, I've been booking music in Central Florida for 15 years. And I've probably booked over 300 bands, played over 500 performances with other bands that were on the same bill that I didn't necessarily book. So I have a slew of friends. So I was able for this album to go out there and kind of hand select the best musicians, the best of the best in Central Florida, and get them on this album. So same thing at the website. You could go to the About section, and we have pictures of everyone and bios. But it does include TJ Urasic from Pilot Wave, and Kevin Stevens from Harum Scarum, and Anthony Santisi from a band called Euphrates, and then a number of other musicians round out the whole group.
And we do have Tyler Luke on the line. Hi, Tyler. Can you hear us?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Excellent. So tell me, how's the contest going?
Well, for me, it's been slow the last couple of weeks since I've got the reels. You know, getting stuck at work and stuff, and doing a bunch of schoolwork and stuff. So been kind of busy the last couple of weeks, but I did get to get out. But you know, when I did get out, I just so happened to leave my phone at the old house here, so I was 40 minutes away, you know, so I'm not going to drive all the way back to go get my phone, so I didn't end up getting to take any pictures with anything, so kind of screwed the goose there, but other than that, it's all right.
So how would you say fishing is this year? I mean, you're doing really well in the contest, as I understand it.
What's that?
I say, how is the fishing going this year compared to other years, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, you know, just like everywhere up north here, the ice it started off really slow. The ice formation was really slow off the bat. You know, usually I'm up on the ice. I'm in northwest Wisconsin, right 10 minutes away from the Minnesota border, and I mean, usually I'm out on the ice early December on probably 3 inches of ice on smaller lakes, you know, and we didn't get that till I wasn't on the ice till after New Year's Eve. So, I mean, it kind of got pushed back a month, you know, and usually I'm out 40 to 50 times a year.
Wow.
But at this, it just got pushed back so much. I've only been out probably 15, 20. But other than that, I mean, the fishing on all the lakes I fish on, basically, everything's been great. A lot of lakes used to fish when I was younger. They've kind of rebuilt again. They get fished hard because there's not a lot of lakes around. They're a little more north of where I live. There's a lot more water. So a lot of lakes around here kind of get hit pretty hard. So a lot of the smaller lakes are rebuilding and getting stronger again with panfish and, you know, game fish, northern and stuff like that. So, I mean, so it's been a pretty good year. So other than that, I can't complain too much. I've got a lot of fresh fish home for the family, and really can't complain about that.
Yeah. Well, where are you fishing right now? I mean, what's the hot spots you're at?
I mean, I have a couple of lakes. One's called Squaw Lake. It's just north of where I live, just 10 minutes. It's kind of area. It's not structured very well. Like a lot of lakes, it's just hardly a mud flat, basically,
Can you help us novices understand what the word structured means? I mean, is that a special term, or are you just saying that?
No, just basic structure, like rocks or weed edges, or just certain stuff like that. Like the lake itself is practically barren. It doesn't have any weed structure in the winter. It just all kills off. So like I'm talking like rocks off of the shores, stuff like that.
But does that affect the kind of fish that you would find? I mean, obviously there would be different types of fish, perhaps in different lakes, but the fact that you said that the shoreline is unstructured, does that affect the kind of fish that it would be able to support?
Not necessarily, but sometimes, well, that lake, it doesn't have with the weeds in the lakes create oxygen, and that lake has aerators in it just because it doesn't get enough oxygen because it doesn't get any through the live vegetation off into the lake. So, yes, but that's also why the lake got killed off a couple of years ago. So, I mean, there's not a lot of game. A few northern pikes and stuff, but there's a lot of crappies and bluegills basically in that lake. So, I mean, other than that, like a lot of the lakes are river fed too, so that helps a lot with with aeration. It always has moving water into it. It's got fresh water coming in, and a couple coming out too. So that definitely helps. Yes.
Right. So can you share your experience? To do a lot of line fishing, or rod and reel, or both? In the winter time, yes, I'll do a lot more jigging with a pole and a reel. Just because I am not a person that sit around and wait for fish. I'm a person that'll go drill 50, 100 holes, whatever it takes to find fish. So I don't necessarily like to sit on hard at a shack, and because when I'm going to fish, I'm going to fish. I'm staying to catch fish, just like you guys like to do, like I like to do. It's kind of a funny story when I saw the Yoyito, the reel online, because there's a river around our town and it dams up, and we used to take basic reels that the line comes on when you buy it, like a strand, what do they call those? Like the line holders, the reel parts or whatever around it, things that hold the lines, and we used to put those out and catch carp on them. So when I saw this, I kind of thought it was a cool thing to actually try and ice fish with it. I mean, it has obviously some different features to it, with the holes and stuff, but I like to in the summertime I really like to fly fish. That's a big thing for me. Is I like to go on the river system right by my house and go fly fish for smallmouth bass mostly, some muskie sometimes. So, and that's usually what I do most of the time is pull fish. So yeah. Yeah. So tell us what a life-changing experience it is to be part of the Yoyito Ice Fishing team.
Oh, it's great. I just talk to Benny every once in a while about how it's going with it and stuff. So it's kind of cool to be part of something, and help somebody out that's trying to promote something for a group of anglers, or just a certain group of things I like to be a part of things. So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, we thank you for being part of that too, Tyler. It's really important to get the word out and help people understand what handline fishing is all about. How would you say that handline fishing to you compares to rod? Is it a different experience, and if so, what is the difference? Why would you pick a handline over rod and reel in a given situation?
Okay, right.
Looks like we've lost the audio there for a minute. Joe, check and see if you can hear us. And I mean, folks, this is I mean, it's an amazing thing that we can actually do this. You know, that we can all be sitting in our homes throughout the country and have this type of interaction, this type of capability. But it does come at the expense that the platform itself is very unreliable. I mean, you know, it's the Google Hangouts do tend to crash, and you know, that's something that we just deal with, and you know, just leverage it to the best way that we can. Joe, are you back?
Am I back? You tell me.
Yes, you are back. All right, go ahead.
So Tyler, you were sharing why you would pick a handline over a rod experience, and I do apologize for technical difficulties. We lost the internet there for a minute, but we got it back.
That's right. I was saying I'd like to over a rod. I've always kind of been a guy that'll take a ultralight pole and ultralight reel and go try to catch a 30-pound carp. So you know, I really like to play fish, and hand reeling it's definitely a different thing, just because there's a lot of play with a fish, because you don't have you know, like Benny said earlier, you don't have a drag set, you don't have something that guides you with that, you know, so it's kind of fun to do it basically by your own, and kind of, I feel like, you know, that's kind of why I like fly fishing too. It kind of brings you back into a nature scene, you know. You kind of get away from all the technical things and all the new advancements and stuff, and it's just kind of you and I mean that's what they probably did way back when, before they even had reels and stuff. You know, I think it's just really a cool experience to be doing something like that over traditional, like, newer ways to angle for anglers. For me, for these days, I just really like to play with a fish. It's just a good time.
Excellent. Could you share with us what is your most exciting or memorable fishing experience?
Oh man, a lot. I guess not a lot, but
a lot to pick from.
Probably when I was probably around 12 or 13. I was walking up the river, fly fishing for smallmouth bass, and I use like 8-pound test for a leader when I use that or whatever, you know. I fish with these little poppers up top on the water, and took a pretty far cast one time, and I ended up landing a muskie. I mean, it was a little over 40 inches, but wow. I had a $40 fly rod and reel combo with some decent floating line and an 8-pound leader. So I had probably played with that fish for a half an hour, maybe even more, and it was kind of cool to be able to actually land it, not have it snap me off. So I thought that was probably the coolest thing that happened to me, for sure.
Well, do you have any advice for somebody that's interested in getting into fishing?
You know, for me, find someone that knows somewhat what they're doing. I mean, are you guys talking about ice fishing, or are you talking about just fishing in general?
Yeah, it's an open question, but if you want to specify into a specific area and give somebody some of your best tips, that would be great too.
I would say definitely, if you're going to be ice fishing, definitely be precautious. A lot of times around where I live, you know, smaller lakes, you'll go talk to a bunch of other people. So if you're going to try to, especially ice fish, if you see people on a lake, don't be afraid to go out and talk to people and learn things about the lake, learn things about like what they do to catch fish and be successful. I mean that's kind of true in the world of just open water fishing too. For me, I'm always trying to learn things. I'm always watching TV shows. I'm always looking for certain ways to better myself. I mean, hunting and fishing, you know. So I mean, don't be afraid to basically ask people what they do. And I mean, some will stretch the truth, some will tell you some lies, but even if they are lying, you're just trying to get into the sport. So I mean, they're still giving you somewhat helpful advice, which I think is a good thing. And just do research. I mean, kind of like school, you don't know much about something, you're doing a project on it, you're going to obviously do some research about it. I feel like that's probably best advice I could give anyone about definitely fishing.
Okay, do you have a favorite kind of fish, and how would you prepare it? What's your favorite way to eat it?
Well, definitely yellow perch. I know a lot of people that would kill for some yellow perch, so definitely yellow perch. We used to do a lot of shore lunch stuff, but I mean, it's all right. But my dad got this stuff. I don't remember what the heck it's called, but it's like a beer batter stuff that you can get like at a sports bar or whatever if they have a fish fry. But definitely, the beer batter to me is probably my favorite of the yellow perch. I mean, you can't go wrong with that at all. I mean, it's definitely a tasty meal.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I do really appreciate you taking the time to share your stories and advice with us, and best of luck on the contest. I think if I have my memory serving, you're really a contender. You've been fighting for the prize, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try my best.
All right, Tyler. Thanks so much for participating.
Yeah, good talking to you guys.
Good talking to you too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. You know, I got to say, you know, that Florida is very well known for fishing, and there's definitely a lot of fishing out here. But there's certainly some hardcore fishermen out there in Minnesota and in the Midwest. And just simply the number of people, just the sheer number of people that actually go out there on the ice to fish is amazing. I mean, God forbid it drops below 50 down here. We all kind of like huddle in the house and are afraid to go to the car. And these guys are going out there sometimes at like whatever, like 0 degrees, 20 below. Sometimes they have a big, comfortable trailer, but sometimes they're on this tiny little teepee things. It's just amazing to see that.
Yeah, that was a good call. Tyler gave us a lot of good story, good advice, and he seems to be having a really good time with this contest. Where does he stand in the leaderboard here?
I'm not sure. I would have to go back and check. I don't actually have access to that right now.
Yeah, I was curious, but he's he's part of Yoyito team.
He is one of the team members. We have 11 team members, and that's something that we haven't talked about much. That I would like to actually make a little space right now to, unless we have something pressing that we want to move to. Basically, like I said before, I put an ad there. Basically, I asked for help. I said, hey guys, I want to do this. I want to try this, and like I said, like 260 people volunteered, which is, I've never done this before, but I have a feeling that is not that typical. And I think it speaks a lot about the community, right? It's a nice, tightly knit community of anglers that want to help each other, and they're constantly sharing tips and tricks, and do this or do that, or advice. I mean, it's just amazing. But the fishing team itself is it's made up of 11 people. Now they're not all competing right now. A lot of them have other previous engagements or what have you, because the original ask for help was not can you fish the next week and compete in a tournament. It was, can you help us test out the Yoyito as a as an ice fishing ice fishing tackle and so on, for that particular application. And so a lot of them, out of the 11 team members, we only have some of them that have had the time to go out there in this short notice to compete. One of them is Michael Nelson. We have Kelly Olson and Ryan Sajik. We have see, I'll make sure I'm not missing any of the guys who are actively competing. We have Adam Adolf out there on the ice. And then we have other guys like Cole Anderson that hasn't been able to hit the ice yet, but is dying to try it out and to put it through his paces, and has been very, very helpful, giving me feedback on the product and what he thinks about this and that. So John Feldkamp, we have Kelly Olson, Cal Vienick, and I'm sorry if I'm destroying the last names here because my pronunciation is not it's not great. We have Trevor Rod. That was Tyler Lewick on the phone, but there's also a Tyler Waldemarson. Please forgive me for how I pronounce your name. And then we have Bill Kiblin, or William Kiblin, which is also another team member. And they will be testing it out and using it in the days and weeks to come. It's not that easy, kind of like organizing everybody, to go out there and do this at the same time. After all, when they raised their hand to help, they didn't know they would be competing on a fishing tournament. So the fact that some of them actually hustled to get out on the ice and even try to participate in this short notice was fantastic. It was a lot more than we can possibly ask of them. But there's a lot of other people who actually registered in the tournament and have been making submissions and so on. Officially, we have about 60 people registered right now. The registration is still open. We have half an hour, like 28 minutes and a couple seconds to go before it closes. So there's still time if you guys are listening. If you caught something and you can take a picture of it with a known object, like we have on the official instructions. That's a soda can, for example, right next to it. Please submit it. All it takes is for you to go on to fishingyoyito.com, fill out a simple form for the registration, and then you email your pictures to 2016ice1@fishingyoyito.com, and you'll be you'll be in the tournament. So I'll give it back to you guys, and you gotta help me because I'm a little bit lost. Joe, I forgot where we are here in the program.
That's okay. 16 real, just for the process stuff. But we probably should cover the contest rules here a little bit, just for the sake of being clear. But before we do that, I would like to say, Cole Nelson. Do you know Cole? Benny? Cole Nelson?
Michael Nelson?
Wait a minute. Am I getting that wrong, Amanda? She's helped me out here, but.
Oh, you're talking about Cole? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've spoken to him several times. He's a fantastic guy. In fact, Cole Anderson. Yeah. So the man is not just an angler, but he is a full-time farmer and a full-time realtor, which are two completely different professions. And he seems to be able to do them both. In fact, his profile picture there shows him, spreading his arms like this on top of a beautiful green soy field, which I assume is his crop. I've even asked him for advice on my garden and see if he can help me out because I haven't done very well. But he's a super guy. So if we can get him on the phone, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, he said he would not be available by phone, but he did send in some advice, and he said it's about the Yoyito itself, and he said it's really great to feel the fish bite when in hand jingling, and I used one for jiggling and the other as a bobber. So if you guys want to talk a little bit about how that works with the Yoyito, and he also said it's nice for the fish house because you can hang them on a screw kind like a rattle reel, and they obviously don't take a lot of room, so it's definitely simple. You can pack light, get out to the fish house and the ice house, and make it happen. So.
Yeah, so I'm actually learning about this stuff myself, right? As we already pointed out several times. But there is such a thing as a rattle reel, and it's basically very similar to the Yoyito. It's a reel that has a kind of like a mechanism that makes sound when the fish bites. So when the fish pulls a string, it makes a certain amount of noise. Now, the Yoyito serves that purpose very well. If you put it inside the case that it came with, it comes with a little pull string soft bag or case. You cast a line, put it in there, hang that bag by the parachute, by the paracord, anywhere near a surface. When the fish bite, you will get a similar effect. The Yoyito will move around, make noise, and alert you that that you have a fish on the line. Same thing for like a tip up, which is a device that they use with a small reel that goes around the ice hole itself. And it's got a mechanism that triggers a little flag, and when you see the flag pop up, it actually tells you that a fish is on the line, or at least that a fish, that you had a bite, and it triggers the mechanism. I'm actually working on a line of accessories that it's not ready for market yet, but that would allow you to do something very similar. In fact, I'm extremely inspired by this whole ice fishing thing. So I definitely want to get back to my 3D modeling software and come up with something specific for ice fishing. I'm not sure if it's going to be available by the time the season ends, because this year the season is very short, but definitely by next season, including coming up with specific kits or kits that are specific for ice fishing. I'm learning about, for example, the line requirements, specific type of lines that are used for ice fishing, and so on. So I'm all gung-ho about hitting the drawing board and expanding the Yoyito capabilities and make it even more of a contender there for the ice fishing community.
Yeah, and speaking of the ice fishing community, they, I am sure, would have a lot of good suggestions, perhaps, for what it is that would be a good accompaniment for the Yoyito. Where would they get in touch with you? And Mikhail, you are also in the entrepreneurial inventing business. So I'm wondering if we can just do a little plug here for the both of you. FishingYoyito.com. Is there an email people can get in touch with you, or what is the best way if they say, hey, I'd really like to see this come on board because this would be handy with the Yoyito? Where would they contact you?
Well, for Fishing Yoyito, they can send an email to info@fishingyoyito.com. And we're completely open about everything. We want feedback. If you have praises for us, that's great. If you have suggestions, that is awesome. If there's something you don't like, please let us know. We're here to take care of our customers. And I am a firm believer of crowdsourcing development. I mean, I don't just want to build a product and I'm not building this just for me. I'm building this for the angler community. So I want to take and include their feedback and produce a product that they are really going to be happy with. So everything is on the table. Any idea, any suggestion, complaints, please send emails to info@fishingyoyito.com.
And Yoyito is spelled Y-O-Y-I-T-O?
That is correct. Y-O-Y-I-T-O.
Excellent. And Mikhail, you are from Emberlit.com. That's E-M-B-E-R-L-I-T. And you too make a line of products that are of a similar ilk. I think that yours even expands out into the camping community. And where else would the Emberlit stove be used and serve the outdoorsmen or the outdoorsmen?
They are fantastic for emergency situations like bug out bags, 72-hour kits. I know a lot of people that they have their butane stove, they have their normal traditional fuel stoves, but the Emberlit, because it packs flat and it weighs so little, they just shove that in their go bag as well, so they always have that option, especially if you want to conserve your fuel or you run out. So it's really great for that type of stuff. It's awesome for just family camps or on the back porch. If you want to make s'mores, you can fill them with barbecue briquettes, and they work great doing that. So it has a lot of options. It just makes it a lot more convenient, again, to be able to use just wooden debris and barbecue briquettes, because if you're going to be out fishing, eventually, I imagine you're going to want to eat one of them, and so having the stove handy is a great thing to do.
I'm wondering if both you and Benny have products that are very handy, at least from my perspective, in terms of just having as a go bag in case anything ever, we live on Earth, and Earth has had upheaval, and I don't mean to be, dire or anything, but being prepared is part of the idea that we should all have, and it seems like both of your products fit really well into that survival category. Can you guys talk about what types of things would go into a survival bag, and maybe also include, of course, your own products, because they do appear to be right up that alley, but maybe if you could talk a little bit about how that works. And
ooh, that's you opened a big can of worms on that one. Let's
keep the can. Maybe we'll crack the can, but not open it up wide.
This is just my humble opinion, honestly. Different needs for different folks, but when it comes to emergency stuff, I would say first and foremost is you got to make sure that you can stay warm or you can stay cool, that you can control your body temperature. That you have a shelter, that you've got proper clothing, that you have a way to, again, to get out of the cold. If you have a flat tire and you're driving somewhere and it's snowy and blustery around, it's great to have a couple blankets in the back of the car. If in the middle of the night you have to get out of your house because it's on fire, what are you going to want to have? I mean, you're going to be in your pajamas, hopefully, and you got to figure, if you're stuck outside in just your pajamas, what are you going to want? And so you're going to want, first and foremost, clothing and a way to shelter yourself from the elements. And after that, then just start thinking about your individual needs for your family. It's great to have, like I said, a little stove so you can cook some hot food. You can cook, heat up some water for something warm to drink. It's very soothing. I have little kids, so I got to make sure that I bring hard candies and extra blankets and toiletries for them. In fact, we even got a newborn, so I got to make sure that she's taken care of. And then, but it's kind of an individual thing. But as long as you take care of those basic necessities of staying hydrated and staying warm or cool depending on the circumstances, the weather, then after that is just what fits in your gear. What makes life better and easier. I mean, we could go on forever, but I don't want to take time for everybody else.
Yeah, no, I would agree with Mikhail about this. But we talk about well, there's a couple things. It depends a lot on the environment that you find yourself in, right? So somebody who's trying to survive in a desert type of environment may have other needs. Once you go beyond the making sure you have an ability to build a shelter and stay warm and cool. The kind of stuff that's available to you differs greatly depending on the location you are. I find that survival, once you locate water and shelter, survival depends. It's a calorie game. If it's you're supposed to be able to stay alive for 30 days without food, but after a couple of weeks without food, you're not going to feel very well. In fact, it really impairs your cognitive abilities, your ability to make decisions. And this becomes a crucial thing because you can make decisions that end your life. You can decide to go in the wrong direction, and so on. So I do think procuring food, having a way to safely consume that food. I think Mikhail's stove comes into play here very nicely. Being able to boil water, for example. If you're lost in the middle of nowhere and you drink bad water, the chances of you surviving are very slim. You know, you succumb to that type of illness very quickly, and just dehydration alone, you know, it's absolutely deadly. Now, in terms of acquiring foods, you can definitely look for edibles, you know, plants and fruits and things like that, grubs, insects. You can try to hunt, you can try to trap, but if there's a body of water nearby, I would say that the most efficient way to acquire proteins and nutrition is to fish. And the reason for that is because you can, for most fish, for most bodies of water have catfish to begin with. Catfish, along with many other species, you can actually fish for them unattended. I mean, think about the people who are ice fishing with tip-ups. They're not tending to the line. The line is down. When the fish is on and the alarm goes off or the flag goes off, that's when they go get it. So in a situation like that, you want to, in a survival situation, you want to do two things. You want to acquire calories and nutrition, but at the same time, you want to save as many calories and nutrition. You want to save as much energy as possible, so you can stay strong. So being able to fish is would be a huge advantage to somebody who's out in that situation. And I think there's another thing to be said about survivals. We always think about this kind of like dystopia, post-apocalyptic scenarios, or this horrible catastrophe that happens and you have to survive. But there are a lot of people in this country who need to survive and live in the cities. There's plenty of people who would benefit by a cost-effective way to acquire food, to acquire fish. I mean, go to the store. It's one of the most expensive food items you can buy. I can tell you from my own experience, when we first came to this country, that we ate a lot of fish that we fished ourselves, and that was a big part of our diet. And if you don't go out and buy $2,000 rods and reels and stuff like that, if you go with a hand line and get a little bit of bait, and you'll be eating fish for pennies a pound, literally. Particularly if you expand your palate. I mean, if you're adamant that the only type of fish you'll eat is salmon, or you only are the type of person who eats grouper or redfish, well, you know what? Maybe you're going to have a hard time eating and staying nice and healthy. But if you're willing to expand your the options there, and eat catfish and eat grunt and eat panfish and various other type of species, it's fairly easy to keep yourself properly nourished. And again, it doesn't have to be a comet that hit Earth. It could simply be, you're a little bit down on your luck, and you just don't have the money to go out there and splurge. Things are tight. You go out there, get some fish, bring it home. Everybody's happy.
Absolutely, it doesn't. And you're right. It doesn't have to be necessarily an emergency. In fact, a lot of times you can avert that entire survival situation with just a little bit of preparation, a little bit of knowledge, and so with the hand lines, they're so compact and they're so small. What I like to do is I like to keep them rigged up in several different types of tackle, depending on the fish that I might happen to run into. And I've always got the hand line in my pack, so I never miss an opportunity to be able to go fishing. And that's really what the whole bug out kit is. You have or your emergency preps is you have those base necessities covered, so that you can go out and take care of those opportunities that otherwise you would miss because you're trying to stumble on around with not having the proper tools. One thing also I wanted to mention real quick is using a set line, which is what Benny was describing with the hand lines. Essentially, you set your line out and you leave it unattended. I agree with you. Circle hooks are awesome. Circle hooks are a type of fishing hook that is not everybody is familiar with. They're different than your standard J hooks. The J hook is just, traditionally just shaped like a J, and those you have to set the hook. When you feel the fish bite, you have to yank on your pole to get that to set in the fish. Circle hooks, on the other hand, they're designed where the fish can actually swallow the bait, and as they try to swim away, that hook will literally come out of their guts and then slide across their mouth and then get hooked on the corner of their mouth, something like 80 or 90% of the time. And so, in essence, the fish hooks themselves. I moved to using circle hooks because, when I have my children fishing, they don't know how to set the hook as soon as they feel the fish bite. So you get gut hooks on a lot of, gill hooked or gut hooked on a lot of fish. And a lot of these fish, we don't intend to take home. I just want them to have fun. And so I really hate having to take a fish home, you know, because it got hooked in such a way that we can't release it. And so I moved to circle hooks because for them, the kids just hold on to the line and the fish will hook itself. In fact, you're not even supposed to set it. Just let them run with it. But for a survival standpoint, circle hooks are actually extremely useful for doing set lines or anytime when you're going to leave the line unattended, because it doesn't require you to babysit it. And so, you know, it's interesting. For me, the world of survival and primitive skills and bushcraft and just outdoor fun blend all together. It's what I really enjoy doing. And so, honestly, in my opinion, is with the proper preparation and some know-how, you're really not going to be the guy that's in a survival situation. You might be camping all of a sudden or impromptu fishing, but you're not going to be in dire straits for the most part. And again, having gear that is flat and convenient and packable, like these hand lines, they're just so simple. Stoves or any other stuff that's on the market that's, you know, designed to be convenient to carry but very useful. It just makes those situations so much more endurable and actually enjoyable in a lot of respects.
Thanks, Mikhail. Do you, August Wenger from Last Electric Rodeo, do you have, I know that the album itself is kind of along the lines of survival. Do you have any thoughts on that? And maybe also that would be a good segue into playing the next song. If you could suggest one of the songs, and we could maybe cue it up and play it for the audience.
Yeah, I certainly I think that the survivalist culture is super important. I think some people get out of hand with it. The end times survivalists that are, you know, filling their whole basements full of food. I don't know. You know, maybe that would maybe that's an important thing to think about. But as far as the album goes, we're a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. So I was imagining if there were an end times a scenario, what would be a product that would still be viable, that would sell? And I said, you know what, that's got to be gas masks. So we had this song. It was like a jingle. And I said, you know what, this is a jingle for a gas mask company. So we created our own gas mask company called Jurassic Gas Masks. And in a kind of sideshow snake oil salesman kind of way, we said, oh, well, we'll need some girls to help us sell these gas masks. And that thus was the creation of a song called Girls in Gas Masks, and I think you guys have it, so you can play that one. That'd be a segue from the survivalist talk.
Okay, let's hear it. This is Last Electric Rodeo's Girls in Gas Masks.
The air is thick, and it's only getting thicker, and you're probably sick, and only getting sicker. Air is filled with dust and debris, so many pollutants that you can't see. Viruses, particles and hazards, biological agents and toxic gases. When you're on that date, you want protection. Don't come home with a deadly infection. Girls in gas masks, girls in gas masks, girls in gas masks, girls in gas masks, yeah. When it's just 2 minutes to midnight and your future's not looking so bright, when you're in a cloud of pollution, just throw Jurassic as your solution. When you're facing mass extinction, You need a product of distinction. When you find that you can't breathe, remember Jurassic Rodeo gas testing. Gas mask, gas mask, girls, gas mask, girls, gas mask, gas mask, girls, gas mask, girls, gas mask, girls, gas
Woohoo!
Or guys in gas masks, you know, whatever sells. That's great, Mikhail.
That was pretty awesome. For the folks that are listening, Mikhail just pulled out an actual gas mask and it was dancing to the song. It was a sight to see.
What was that, a Jurassic gas mask? I'm just curious. So, yeah, that could be an actual line of products. So.
Yeah, if there's any listeners out there that knows a gas mask company, we're looking to partner and sell them at our shows.
Excellent, excellent. Did I see on your website there, August, that somebody was wearing a gas mask in one of the pics, and let's also make sure that people know how to find Last Electric Rodeo. It is at lastelectricrodeo.com.
Yes, we have lastelectricrodeo.com, but we're also pretty internet and social media savvy. So we do have a Facebook, facebook.com/Last Electric Rodeo. And the different characters from the album, I have them sort of as avatars running the different social media. So we've got a character, and maybe we'll play part of her song later, called the Radioactive Gal. And so if you interact with our Facebook page, we'll be the Radioactive Gal that would answer you back. We also have an Instagram where we're loading in our graphic design work, which is done by Megan Harper and Omega Designs. And so that's simply instagram.com/Last Electric Rodeo. And then we have 3 characters that are on Twitter. Each of them are interested in different things. So our radio disc jockey, Jurassic Jack, is on there. That's Twitter at Jurassic_Jack. He's interested in classic rock and radio stations, stuff like that. The character from the Atomic Beach Bash song is at Atomic_Trinity, and she's sort of she's a valley girl, but she's super smart and has a degree in astrophysics, so she's interactive with a lot of science stuff in the Twitter realm. And then I have an avatar character that I use also, and that's Twitter at last_ringmaster. So we're looking. We're on YouTube. We're on all kinds of different music player platforms: Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. As many as we can out there. We're out there somewhere. But certainly, I like to direct people to the website because all of the links are there.
Excellent. I see on the website itself there are some characters on the About Us page. I believe it's the About Us page. I've been floating through this thing, and which are any one of these in particular you? Are you a Wenger?
Yes. So
you live in a house made of black Legos.
Right. We came up with some just silly bios. Each of us have different businesses or different places that we work, so we just sort of changed our names a little bit to come up with some stage names. And my name's August Wenger. In German it's pronounced Wenger, so I called myself Avenger. And then, as you can see on the website there's other silly names, variations of other people that are in the cast and crew.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I really like the music. I think we all enjoyed that. So thanks for letting us play it, and thanks for helping to sponsor the show here. Speaking of the tournament, Benny, should we hear an update on where we're at with the contest? Is there any late entries or news and updates? And maybe we ought to do a weather report too. So we're falling a little behind here. Let's try to wrap it up.
Well, it's there's actually a tournament officially ends in about 30 seconds. So we're gonna have the the winners announced shortly. We're gonna do a final post on the leaderboard. So just give me just a little bit so we can wrap that up, and we'll start announcing the winners.
Okay, so well, I have one of my obnoxious jokes. So, why don't prawn share their toys? Anybody know?
Why, Joe?
Well, they're a little shellfish.
All right. I wasn't gonna do it, but I can't leave you out there with the worst joke of the night. So.
It was pretty bad. I think on the eye roll meter, I got a head to the back of the noggin there.
All right. So yeah, excuse my language here, but what did the fish say when he ran into a wall?
Well, I don't know. What did the fish say when he ran into the wall?
Damn.
Okay. All right. Okay. So all right. Now we're in a joke war. So
these fish jokes are just cracking me up.
My 5-year-old son told me that one.
So why do bass always get poor grades in school? Because they're below sea level.
You need the sound effects going.
We do need the sound effects. Yeah.
I'm gonna put the gas mask back on.
Yeah, that's
probably. These jokes stink so bad.
Okay, so I have one that might get a chuckle. Okay, here's my best attempt at chuckle. All right, so I'm working out my best stuff. So give me at least a polite chortle for my effort here, if you wouldn't mind. So, how do you avoid getting an infection from biting insects? Anybody?
Wow.
Well, don't bite them. Okay, I got it. I got it. Score! Goal! All right, so we are waiting for the update from Benny on the leaderboard here, and I guess they're scrambling to kind of figure out who, what, when, why, and where about the end of the fishing contest. But why don't we take the opportunity to again thank the people who have sponsored. Mikhail from Emlet.com. That's EMBERLIT.com. Tell us a little bit about yourself for anybody that just tuned in late.
Well, where to start? Basically, I am known for my stoves. I make these little packable wood-burning stoves, which are great. They fit in your backpack, fit in your emergency kit. You can take them anywhere, and all you got to use are sticks and debris to cook your food and boil your water. And so I enjoy fishing a lot. I enjoy the outdoors a ton. And, the stoves and the other stuff that I sell is really just born out of that love of being outside and taking advantage of just the beauty that's all around us. But, yeah, fishing is about the only time where I ever start to curse. Well, that and working on a vehicle. But for whatever reason, when I get into fishing, I get into fishing, and it's just the stoves or any of these products. It's just they enhance the outdoor experience. That's the bottom way to put it. It's they just make getting outside and having fun all the more enjoyable. That'd be that.
Yeah, so we would like to thank you for being on the show, and I have a little panel here up on the screen. I don't know if you can all see it, but that is the Emlet stove. It's easily packable and truckable along with you, going out camping, fishing, and wherever. So I do thank you for being here. We also have one of our other sponsors is Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine, and they can be found at MidwestHuntFish.com. We'd like to thank them for their help, and again, we love having Last Electric Rodeo here. I'm looking for the, hello, where is my, oh, there it is. And there is my panel screen for you guys, and that's at lastelectricrodeo.com. So thank you all for being here. I know that Benny is in the process here of really trying to get a handle on making sure that all the submissions are right and tallied and all of that. So I think he's running around with his hair on fire at this moment. But, pardon me?
I was going to say, if you like, I can show you something kind of cool and why I just love Benny's Yoyito. So it figured, so this right here, I don't know if you can see this very well, but
yes, but we do have a listening audience too, so we want to make sure that we're crafting a picture with words as well. And that is a pretty big. I believe that's the traditional yo-yo.
Yep,
how big would you say that is?
This one right here is probably a 9-inch in diameter, and it's a Cuban yo-yo. They're very similar to, say, a kite reel, what you would use for fishing. You know, for not for fishing, but for flying a kite. The big difference between Cuban yo-yos and a standard kite reel that a lot of people don't understand is one side of that spool has a bevel to it. It's got an angle so that you can actually cast the fishing line off of the spool. And you can get a great distance with these.
Right.
But as you see, it's big. I mean, you know, I pulled a really big
kind of
fish
bulky. Yeah. Look how it looks like a almost a small tire, like a tractor tire hub or something. Right?
Pretty much. And you know what? You can bring in tremendous fish on these. You know, I brought in, you know, huge pike and redfish and sharks and so on. But the problem is they're not real packable. It is fairly difficult to be able to put that in your bag with any sort of convenience. Now, that's what attracted me so much to this Yoyito.
Right, and so now you're comparing the size. Would you say that's about half size? Would you say it's a quarter size?
Quarter size. Get this thing out. Incidentally, the first Yoyito I bought from Benny, my dog destroyed. He got a hold of it and chewed it up. And so Benny was nice and sending me another one.
Yeah.
So if you look at the Yoyito,
right.
There it is. So there they are in comparison. I can actually fit it through the hand hole.
Oh yeah.
In the Cuban yo-yo, that's the size difference.
Right.
And what I find so ingenious about this is the little finger holes give me someplace to grip. You know, because the Cuban yo-yo is designed to put your hand through it like you're holding, you know, like a tire essentially.
Right.
But these Yoyitos are just so conveniently small, and yet you still have that beveled edge, so you can cast a mile. They're real convenient, easy to reel up, and everything like that. And so he's essentially taken the utility of these big, and they're wonderful if you got the space for them, and put it in something you can put in your pocket. And you know, like I mentioned earlier, what I like doing is I like carrying, you know, 2 or 3 hand lines, each one with a different setup. Sometimes I have a bobber with a fly if the trout are biting top water. If I'm, you know, going for bass, I'll put a jig on there. If I'm going for anything lower, I'll just have a drop line set with you know, some bait on it or power bait or whatever. And it's nice because I could just go in my bag, pick out whichever rig I need, chuck it out there, and test it real quick. So it adds to the convenience too, because you're not carrying a whole pole. You don't have to cut your line. You don't got to sit there and thread it and re-tie all your terminal tackle. And so I'm giddy over it. And like I said, I've been fishing with handline since I was a little kid, and I'm actually in the market developing a handline to sell because. So that's what the irony is. Like, I think it's just such a great device. I'm like, I want one, and so yeah, Benny's really got something here. Very, very, very useful. I think your mic went out. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, Joe, you have no audio. Jump back in. Yeah. Yeah, sorry guys, I had to step out for a second. We're trying to resolve some last-minute details on the leaderboard here. But I have, you know, Fer and Amanda are working hard to get that leaderboard set up, updated, and posted. But we actually have, Amanda was just telling me that we have Nick that we can give a call, and you should be receiving a text shortly, Joe, on that.
Yes, and I am back. I do have audio. Yes.
Yep. We hear you.
Excellent.
Yes, you have audio. You're good.
In the meantime, do we have any time? And please cut me off if need be. Do we have time for tips?
We actually have 2 more folks that we can call, and we need to announce the winners. So there's not a whole lot of. I think we may be a little bit short on the schedule.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. That's fine. So what I was trying to talk to Mikhail about was the fact that these are very compact, and if you have an idea about fishing where you are actually, am I getting an echo? Okay. If you have an idea of fishing where yeah, we're getting a serious echo here.
Just little bit of echo.
Yeah, actually, we don't hear it. You're hearing your own echo, but it's not coming in through the main.
No, it's not coming through.
Okay, well that's the important thing. Okay, so let me try this question again or point again. If you are going out and the focal point is like getting your tent ready and maybe sitting around the campfire and getting it started and all that, you can also have a few yoyitos plugged along the side of the stream or the lake or whatever, and then be catching the fish while you're doing all that other stuff. So this would be handy in that respect too.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, there is not right way or wrong way of doing this, really. I mean, the only wrong way of doing this is the way that it doesn't produce fish. People all over the world have different methods for fishing with a line, and you know, it is. I'm sorry, Joe. Come back to me again.
Sure. I was speaking to the versatility of the product, that you can actually get other things ready while you have the yoyitos set up, and it's fishing for you while you're doing other things.
I tell you what, one of the most frustrating times is when you just get to the water and you're trying to race your buddies to get your line set up and get it in before they catch one. And so with the hand lines, yeah, as soon as I show up, I toss a hand line in, and then I'll stick it on a nail or on a branch or something, and then get to whatever else I was doing. Looks like we got some news.
Yes, I'm sorry. We are. I'm fumbling here because we're excited and we're about to tell who the winners are, and you know, and we're still waiting. Do we have? Is the leaderboard up? Is that the leaderboard? We need the leaderboard. We need the pictures. All right. So we're about to put up the leaderboard, and these are the winners. We're gonna announce the winners. We're gonna announce the prizes, and I'm running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and it's kind of embarrassing. But
we did say the hair was on fire.
Yes, but you know, if you guys are ready, if you think you have like a minute left, guys, to put the final results up.
Do I have time to put Nick Schmitz on the line? He's queued up here, but
Nick on.
Okay, I'm going to have to call him, so I have to bail out for a little bit, and then I'll be back on as soon as he's ready.
All right, perfect.
I'm looking at that picture of that pike that Nick caught.
That is a scary looking pike, isn't it?
Well, I pulled one in about that size, you know, maybe a little bit bigger, but you know, that's, yeah, of course. No, anyways, I pulled in a big fish like that on the full-size Cuban yo-yo, and that was a struggle. I'm really curious to see what it was like on the Yoyito, if he caught it on that or not. But either way, the pike like that.
Nick is actually. Yeah, Nick is not actually fishing with a Yoyito. He's fishing with traditional tackle. We would have to ask him what he actually used for that. But let's see. Do we have the leaderboard? It's set. Okay, hang on a second. Let me look at the leaderboard. Here we go. We need sound effects, and we'll wait for Joe to come back and announce. But where am I? Leaderboard. Yes. We're almost there, and we have the final leaderboard, and we'll let Joe go ahead and look at the leaderboard. Or you want to go ahead and make the announcements, or do you want me to do the announcements? Joe, do you want me to announce and then we talk to Nick?
Well, we do have Nick on the line here, and he is ready to talk to us.
So why don't we go ahead and make the announcements while he holds on the line, then we talk to him right after we make the announcement. How's that?
Okay, Nick, you can hear us, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he'll be.
All right, here we go. Here we go. I'll take it on. I'm going to go ahead and just simply name the top 3 places for game fish category, followed by the top 3 places for panfish category, and I'm going to start with panfish. So on panfish, on 3rd place, we have Mark Kiefer with a very nice looking crappie. On 2nd place, we have Kyle Young with the famous delicious perch, a perch that I have yet to eat. Maybe he'll send me a piece after this. And then on number 1, we have Michael Nelson with a slab. I mean, this is a very serious crappie that he actually caught with a Yoyito. So, there you go. Michael, the fishing machine Nelson, taking first place on the panfish category. Then moving on to game fish, we have Jonathan Steer, which we had here on the phone earlier, with a very nice looking pike. He's on 3rd place. Then we have Mark Kiefer again, taking the 2nd place on the game fish category with a rather large, very impressive walleye. And on 1st place for game fish category, we have Nick Schmidt, which is us with us here on the line. So congratulations, you guys did an amazing job. Not just the ones that won, but we have plenty of beautiful entries here that you guys went after. And why don't you go ahead and get Nick's reaction, Joe, and then we'll announce the final prize, which is the most submissions in just a bit.
Excellent. So Nick, you hearing all this?
Yeah, I hear it all.
Excellent. So what do you think? First of all, thank you for participating.
Oh, thank you for letting me enter.
You bet. So tell me, did you how is the fishing this year?
This year it was slow at the beginning due to the ice not forming too well, but after the ice finally formed, then the fish started hitting pretty good.
Oh, good. So where are you exactly right now?
Central Minnesota.
Excellent, Central Minnesota. So how did you get started in fishing?
When I was real young, fishing with my dad on a little boat.
Right. So most people have said that they were fishing before they could even remember, and that seems to be like the I guess you have to be a little bit dyed in the wool, so to speak, in order to be brave enough to go out there in the middle of winter, particularly in the cold states, out on the ice fields and go fishing. So what is that experience like? Can you share it for us? Because we're kind of novices to that kind of northern fishing experience. So anything you could tell us would be great.
Well, it's not too bad on the ice. Most people have shelters, but mid-January to early February, you got to really watch the weather, because like last week we're in 30 below weather. So if you're not a hard-sided house, you have a tendency to get pretty cold.
Yeah, I guess it would. Well, so how do you stay warm?
Few layers. There's a couple brands of nice, like ice armor gear, so you don't get wet and it keeps the wind out of you. Then you run little buddy heaters in your house to stay warm.
Right. So what is your favorite kind of fishing? Do you prefer summer to winter, or are they both like unique and enjoyable in their own ways?
I like the winter hard water.
And why? And you call it hard water fishing, not really ice fishing.
Yep.
Yeah. My guess is that this is going to be heard by a wider audience, so we're kind of trying to use the novice term, but it is hard water fishing by the people who are actually in it and do it. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So do you have what was your most exciting fishing experience?
Probably one couple years ago.
it was within 2 days I got two mounts that I put on the wall. I got a nice big walleye and a nice big northern out of new lakes that I never tried.
Wow. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So it's always a kind of a new experience from time to time, even for people that are experienced. So do you have any advice for somebody that's interested in getting into fishing?
If you're getting into ice fishing, I would talk to a lot of people that know the lakes, because each lake, the ice changes. Where at some spots you could be at a foot, next spot you're only at 4 inches of ice.
So it can be a dangerous situation. Make sure that you have decent guides and well-experienced people. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Correct. There's a lot of people that go out not knowing what's going on, and you always see it on the news that they put their trucks in the ice.
Yeah, excellent advice. So I understand that you are the winner.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, so I apologize if I am playing whoever that guy is that mispronounced the correct thing, but as I understand it, you are the winner in, and I'm not sure which category it is. Can somebody bounce in maybe and tell me?
Yes, that's a game fish category. He submitted basically a monster pike. You know, it's I think it was 36 and a half inches.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. Okay. Is there anywhere where somebody can look at that, Benny?
Absolutely. They can go to fishingyoyito.com and pull down from the menu the leaderboard, and they'll be able to see the latest version of the leaderboard. And you'll see there, not only you'll see the winner, number 1, number 2, number 3, but you see all the ones that were, you know, right behind them. We're trying to keep the top 10 fish up on the leaderboard.
Excellent. I bet that's been a struggle to do that. Well, congratulations, Nick. We do have some other congratulations to offer, but I don't want to steal your thunder. I am sure this life-changing prize is going to be resonating in your mind.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I think these guys are fishing for not for the price. I got to think that they're driven by other things, and you know. I don't think many people brave the cold and the ice to go out there just for a simple price. So, but we definitely have some prices, and we can talk about them now. Just let me go down through the list of prices here.
Yeah, Nick, do you have time to stay on the line with us? I don't want to presume to hold you if you have to go.
No, I got time.
Okay, thanks.
All right, just a second while this loads up for me. So first place winner gets a custom 3D printed Yoyito reel with the winner's name embossed on the back. So this is, you know, the Yoyito is actually designed on 3D modeling software, CAD/CAM software. So I'm going to go ahead and modify that master 3D model and embed the winner's name on the back of the reel, and send it out to a high-end place that can do, you know, good quality 3D prints, create the Yoyito object, and we will be sending it to the winner. You can read the official rules for, you know, more information on that, and how long that takes and so on. There is a special price that by Emlet.com, and maybe we can get Mikhail to say what that price is. So this is the first place. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a new car. I'm just kidding. No, it's
no,
it's
not a new car. God, we'll get through it. Go ahead. Yes.
Remember, it's info at Fishing Yoyito. No, now I'm going to send you one of my stoves. You're going to get the stainless full-size Emlet stove, so you can you know, go out and cook that fish and you know, have a little more fun while you're out camping and hanging out in the woods. So we can get you hooked up with one of those.
Yeah, thanks. So
a 1-year subscription
Oh, that's right.
Go ahead, Joe, what do you say?
I was.
Yes, we have more stuff.
I give you a segue, but you already had it, so I spoke. I apologize.
All right. So we have a 1-year subscription from Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine. That was a nice thing by those guys that offer some free subscriptions for the winners. And we have we also have a little money pool going. It's very, very small, so don't get your hopes up too high. Not going to be able to pay your mortgage or anything. This is it was a GoFundMe campaign that we were experimenting with. We have a whopping $45 in that fund right now, which is it's just a symbolic token. Maybe it'll pay for the gas. I don't know. So out of those $45, first place winner gets 32% of that pool. The rest will be divided according to the official instructions on the website across the other winners. So now we'll move on to. By the way, we're talking about first place winners on both categories. So each winner. First place winner on panfish gets this, and the first place winner on game fish will get this as well. Now we'll move on to the second place winner. They receive a Yoyito fishing kit, and again we'll have Mikhail talk about the price that he's putting up for the second place winner.
Second place winner will be a traditional flint and steel striker. And I happen to have one that's in the shape of a fish. So I'm going to send you the steel striker, and some flint, and some instructions, and wish you the best of luck to learn how to use it.
Well, I've seen the strikers, and they're actually very nice looking. It's a beautiful looking steel striker in the shape of a trout, which will go nicely with the fishing theme here. Then we also get a 1-year subscription to Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine for second place winners, and 25%, or actually 12.5% of the money pool. So you get a little bit of those $45. Again, it's not much, but it's what the rules were, and we unfortunately collected only $45. Maybe the next one will collect more. So now we have third place winners, and they get a Yoyito reel. They also get something from Mikhail. Mikhail, you want to tell them what they get? You're muted, Mikhail. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
There we go. Yes, and I have some nice ferrocerium emergency fire starters. These are easier to use than flint and steel, but not nearly as cool. They are cool though. It's one of those modern flint and steel. You can scrape it, and it produces sparks that are roughly 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's great for starting emergency fires. Just keep it in your pack. So I'll get you hooked up with one of those as well.
Excellent.
Fantastic. They also receive a 1-year subscription from Midwest Hunt and Fish Magazine, and they get about 5% of the $45. So maybe that's enough there to buy a soda or something. And that's basically what we have, folks. It's I'm so excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm stuttering and everything else because this is the first time we do this, and hopefully we're able to do this again soon. Maybe with even more sponsors and more prices and more fun, and we'll get better at the whole hangout broadcast, maybe kind of stuff as we learn more about this process.
So Nick, I just want to say again, congratulations for winning. Tell us the experience of going out there on the ice and yanking them in like that. That's quite the fish.
Yeah, as soon as you set the hook, you can tell when you got a big one. It's an adrenaline rush. You forget all about the cold as soon as you feel that fish.
I believe that. Yeah, it has to be taken over your entire focus. Suddenly, old man winter is gone, and it's just you and the fish at that point.
Yep.
Especially that big a fish. Is that like hard on the arms, or how's it to pull it in out of the? It seems like to me, and we're all novices here about ice fishing, and I know that the common term's hard water, fishing up there. We're trying to make sure that nobody gets confused about what that is. Some people might have a hard water problem in their house and think, what are they talking about? Are you going fishing in the bathtub? So, but when you're out there on the ice, how do you get that huge fish through that little hole? Is it difficult?
A lot of people use like 8-inch holes. I run a 9. They run up to a 10, but they actually, you can get even bigger ones. People brought 44 inches up an 8-inch hole. They fit in there. It's tight, but they fit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, listen, I really do appreciate your not only your participation but your stories and all of that. And listen, before you go, can you just share with us, like what besides winning this contest, which I'm sure is life changing and that, but what is your most exciting fishing experience? The one that really stands out to you as being the thing of the past like couple of years in your adult life, not maybe backwards in childhood, but here as an adult. What would you say is the most pleasant and interesting or stellar experience of your adult life of fishing?
Probably when I had a ultralight rod, had 3-pound line on it, and took probably about 15 minutes to reel the fish in, and it was about a 10.5-pound walleye.
That is awesome. That's a big fish. So, what is your favorite kind of fish, and what in terms of not only catching but in terms of eating and preparing?
It more than likely have to be a walleye.
Okay, yeah, that's your favorite.
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, here again, thank you very much for being part of the contest, and congratulations on your win.
Thanks again.
You bet. All right, bye, Nick.
Bye.
All right, so there you have it, folks. This has been great. What do you guys think so far of of this whole ice fishing thing? I mean, does it sound like something you guys are willing to try, or what?
Those rattle reels that you mentioned?
Uh-huh.
You know why they rattle? According to their website, they rattle to wake you from your sleep, to let you know that there's a fish on the line. So I would assume that in those nice ice huts that you put out on the ice, it is rather comfortable if you're falling asleep waiting for the fish to bite. So I'm going to definitely look into this a little bit more.
Absolutely, it definitely does sound like something that it definitely sounds like the comfortable way to fish. Put it that way.
I think with the right equipment and the right know-how. I mean, we got there's a lot of ice fishing or hard water fishing here in Utah. It's actually pretty popular. But
Right.
we've had, again, this winter's been odd, so we've had a lot of fluctuation on the ice. They've actually canceled some ice fishing derbies for burbot over on the Flaming Gorge and so on. So pretty much you have to go higher elevation just to get some solid ice. But it's definitely something I want to try. But I'm looking outside and it's raining right now, even though it's covered in snow and ice. It's just, I don't know. Might have to wait till next year.
So where do you
Right.
get from?
Say again?
Yeah, where are you? Where is your fishing spots? Where are your haunts?
Ooh, out here in Utah, they have a lot of nice reservoirs. Utah has a surprising number of lakes that you can fish in, and so I have my special spots that I hit depending on what I want. If I want trout, like brown trout, we got a lot of native browns up the Provo River Basin. I head up there. It's a blue water fishery, lots of fly fishermen, but I always hit the little side streams that come out of the mountains because nobody fishes the beaver dams. And you have beaver up there, and so they make these little pools, and they're just full of just really hungry brown trout. And I prefer those over rainbow. And they're crowded to the point where the Fish and Game wants people to take them home. They even introduced otters into the system to try to cut the fish down because they're overpopulating from all the very ethical catch and release fishermen. So if I want trout, I hit there. If I want pike, I go down to Yuba Reservoir, and we pill in some really good sized northerns out of Yuba. That's about an 80-mile drive. And then if I'm feeling a little bit more like crayfish. I head out to Strawberry Reservoir, which is a bit further out, but we can catch a cooler full of crawdads in an afternoon. And then if we're really feeling adventurous, we go all the way up to Starvation Reservoir, which has the biggest lake trout you've ever seen. It's just amazing out in the middle of the desert, but it's about a 3-hour drive. So there's a lot of options. We have a couple more lakes on our hit list. But the only place I don't really fish is Utah Lake, and that's 5 minutes away, but it's because, you know, you're going to get a disease or something if you catch anything from there. There's a lot of fish. A lot of anglers fish it. It's just the water quality is a little bit questionable. You know, they're fixing it, though. They're getting better. Oh, and if I'm bored, I just want to go fish. Any of the little creeks in the springtime are full of carp because they spawn. They swim with the creeks. So we just go out to the creeks with spears, just spear carp, and you know, grind it up for chicken feed or whatever.
Mikhail, does the Snake River go down through Utah?
Nope, it doesn't. It's north of us. It cuts across Idaho and then into Washington, and so yeah, it's. I mean, the big rivers here in Utah would be like the Bear River up north, coming out of Bear Lake. It's honestly out here in the Midwest, the rivers are small and they're rocky. I mean, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Washington, where the rivers, the Columbia and so on are huge, and fished. I love fishing the ocean and everything like that. But out here, really, the choice fishing in Utah for those that love that, want that high mountain experience is the alpine fly fishing. You can get a pack, and I carry when I want to fly fish, I use those little tenkara rods, little colossal tenkara rod, which is a form of Japanese fly fishing. I've always got my hand line with me, no question. But just if I want to mix it up, I'll use a tenkara rod or whatever. But you just hike way up. You're above 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet, and there's these beautiful creeks that are well stocked with just these beautiful little rainbows and brook trout and brown trout and absolutely delicious, absolutely wonderful, just over the campfire. And so those are some of the opportunities. Though I tell you what, I really miss fishing the ocean. Hooking into a big rockfish or lingcod or halibut or salmon or something like that. And I'll get my chance. I will, but. For now, it's all the little creeks and stuff around here.
All you have to do is come visit me.
We'll work on it.
Pretty close. We're pretty close to the ocean here.
The problem is, if I go to Florida, my mom will kill me for not going all the way down to Puerto Rico.
So, bring your mom over. We'll all go fishing.
I know. I'll do that. I'll make a little hop step and a jump. And oh man, I have fishing on the brain so bad right now. I'm tempted to put a hook in my tank behind me and just play with him.
Well, that thing, that's a fryer right there you got in the tank. I mean, what is that, a firemouth? That's a cichlid, right?
Yeah, it's a cichlid. It's Oscar. And
an Oscar, okay.
Like I said, I mean, he's following my finger. If I'm not careful when I'm feeding him, he'll get me down to the first knuckle. He is an aggressive eater. He's great, but I understand there's places in Florida that you can catch Oscars just in the ponds, along with all the other invasive species from around the world.
All right. As you were talking about fishing the alpine streams, I've actually had the opportunity to fish in Winter Park in Utah, near up there.
Yeah.
Where's the Olympic place where they had the Olympics?
Yeah, it's up in Heber. I forgot the name of the place. Soldier Hollow is where they did a lot of the skiing stuff. Anywhere up there in Heber has got beautiful. The Upper Provo is what you're looking at. The Upper Provo River, the North Fork, goes up into the high Uintas.
These were very small streams, but the fishing was good, and it was quite challenging because you have to get in the water, and the rocks are slippery, and the water's moving. So it's a pretty interesting experience.
That's why I wear sandals. I wear huaraches when I'm up there, so I can wade out into the water. It's cold, but you get used to it, and it's great. It's great fishing for those trout. They're clean too. The higher up you get, that water is clean, and they're sweet. I I applaud the efforts of a lot of the community fisheries where they have a pond down in the neighborhood for you to go fish. You know, they stock it with hatchery fish and everything like that. But those fish, in quality, you can't compare to those wild fish up in the mountains. I mean, they're just eating mosquitoes and flesh. You know, the water is as clean as you can get. It's amazing.
Fish tend to taste like the water they're in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like deer. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you take a deer who's feeding on sagebrush, it's gonna be a little bit bitter, and it's gonna taste very different from venison that's been fed on corn. You know, who's out in the Midwest eating corn and stuff like that. So definitely, all that stuff makes a big difference. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a lot of it depends on how you cook things. For the longest time out here in Utah, I wanted to learn how to eat the northern, the pike, you know. And in Utah, they're considered a rough fish. So you can keep 4 or 5 a day, I think it is. And on average, these things are 2.5 to 3 feet. You know, they're big. And whenever I asked anybody about how do you prepare them, they told me you don't because of the bones, the rib, the white bones. And so, of course, I go online and I find out, you know, our fishing friends up in Minnesota and Wisconsin around the Boundary Waters, those guys know how to fillet pike and fillet northern. It's one of the best tasting freshwater fish that I found, at least here in Utah. In fact, my freezer's full of the last one that I caught. I'm waiting to smoke it. I want to see how it tastes dried, like jerky kind of, and then the rest I'll fry.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, we tallied up the entries here, and we've identified the winner for the most entries, which is it's basically, let's see, drum roll. I don't have the sound effects. Anyway, so the winner for the most entries, it's going to be Michael the Fishing Machine Nelson.
Go, Michael!
Michael Nelson again. He's the winner for the most entries. He's also the winner in the panfish category. So that's pretty cool. And you know, because I came up with the idea of doing this basically a couple days ago. I apologize for everybody else who, you know, didn't have enough time or knew that we were going to do this, because I didn't know we were going to do this. I actually decided to do this because I felt that people started submitting fish once they realized that their fish was too small to win, and I wanted to, you know, put an incentive there for people to keep going. So I found a prize for the winner of the most entries, and it's going to be a certificate for a free stay at a resort in Michigan. It's in Kalkaska, Michigan, and the name of the resort is called All Seasons Resort, and it's actually a accommodation for 1 night. You know, you stay for free, and it's either you know, king bed or it's let's see what it says. All Seasons Hotel and Resort offers a variety of guest rooms. Blah 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 blah. This is available. You can basically use this until December 30th, 2016. So you have you know, quite a bit of time to you know, make use of the certificate, and we will be sending the certificate to Michael Nelson as the winner for the most entries. So congratulations, Michael. You are the fishing machine, and I want to thank the resort as well for you know, allowing us, you know, giving us this really nice certificate that we're passing on to our winner here today. That is All Seasons Resort in Kalkaska, Michigan. So we want to go ahead and I think we're probably way overdue for another song here from Last Electric Rodeo, and I think perhaps Joe is working on that right now. So we are setting it up Folks, it takes a little bit of time to actually queue up the song and get it going. So maybe we give Joe a little bit of time to do that, and maybe you can talk about that, August.
Sure. Do we know what song he's loading up?
I believe he'll load whatever song you tell him to load. So now that he's back, maybe we can ask him. Joe, what is going to be the next song?
Oh, the next song is Fallout Blues. August, Wenger from Last Electric Rodeo. Can you give us a little bit of flavor for what this song is all about?
Sure. Yeah, so this song was also sort of tongue-in-cheek. It was that we have all of these modern conveniences. We have all of these things in our lives. Some of them are very important to survival. They're important to life. But a lot of the things that we have in our life that some people feel are extremely important that they can't live without, they probably could. So as you'll hear in some of these lyrics, there's some things that if we were to lose them in an apocalyptic situation, it might not be a bad thing. So I'll let you determine which of these things in the lyrics you would want to have and which of those you could do without. So I think that's all I'll say about that, and let the song speak for itself.
Okay, and this is Last Electric Rodeo, Fallout Blues.
No water, no food, no shelter, no love, no rocks, no rolls, no sex, no drugs, no swimming, no diving, no dogs, no cats, no hashtags, no shout-outs, no selfies, Snapchats, no cell phones, no signal, no satellite TV, no Twitter, no Facebook, no TMZ. Woke up this morning with mushrooms on my mind. Opened my eyes, was instantly blind. The sky was orange, the sky was green, the sky was lit with gasoline. We've got them Fallout Blues. No entrance, no exit, no in, no out, no fox, no ducks, no effects, no doubt, no Valentine, no blues, no res, no surprise, no housewives, no video, no truth, no lies, no Oprah, no Kanye, no Kim, no Miley, no Justin, no Jesus, no peace, no Smiley. Woke up this morning with mushrooms on my mind. Opened my eyes, was instantly blind. The sky was orange, the sky was green, the sky was lit with gasoline. We've got them Fallout Blues. No shoes, no sevens, no shit, no smoking, no joking, no wonder, no shit, no gluten, no GMO, no fair trade, no sale, no pain, no gain, no wins, no fails, no drive-through, no fast food, no super sizes, no credit, no debit, no apartment, I rise, no gaming plus, no farm bill, no heaven, no hell, no go, no reality, no hell, no flying, with mushrooms on my mind. Open my eyes, but instantly blind. The sky was home, the sky was green, the sky was lit with gasoline. We got the fallout blues.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent.
That was awesome. I love it. I love the album. You know, I want to take an opportunity and thank everybody here. I want to first thank Joe because Joe has been working on this thing for at least 2 weeks, and I have ideas and it's all great, but you know I'm always late to the party, and Joe is the guy who's actually taken a tremendous amount of his time, you know, from his projects and his grandkids and everything else to work on this stuff. And we've had a number of hangouts where, you know, he's kind of like instructing me and helping me and, you know, try to, and sometimes it's corning me a little bit, you know.
You're,
like,
you're being kind, yeah, because
don't do that.
That's
But so I really, really appreciate you doing this, Joe. This is phenomenal, and you know, I'm very appreciative, and I owe you, and you know, hopefully we'll do other things, this or other things together.
I got to tell you, Benny, you know, part of the reason that I do support you, besides the fact that you're very likable, is the fact that you are actually crafting what in the industry is called a lifestyle business. And I think as the world becomes more and more automated, you constructing a way to do something of value in the context of community while maintaining the social relationship aspect is just not only tremendous, that is going to be our lifeblood going into the future as machines begin to take over more and more of the baseline responsibilities for, they're going to be able to produce, they have automated even farming manufacturing processes going on. So with that in mind, I personally think that what you're doing is tremendous in that respect. So it was my pleasure.
Well, it's greatly appreciated, Joe, and I wanna thank August here for you know not only allowing us to play, because when I first reached August, I just asked him if we can play his music, and not only did he say, yeah, you can play my music, and you don't have to pay us for it, you know, but I'm willing to help, you know, and he's been here, you know, all these hours, and you know, we've had meetings about this, and you know, it's just his time, it's just, you know, giving his time to us is fantastic, and that's another, you know, person that I want to do things with, and you know, we're going to talk afterward later on about other things and other synergies and things that we can do together. But August, thank you very, very much. Your music is fantastic, and you're a really cool guy.
Thank you, Benny. Yeah, when you first came to me with this idea, I thought you were nuts. I was like, what are you talking about? But
well, I am. You were not wrong.
Okay, right. So, but once I started wrapping my head around what you're doing and the potential here, I just saw that the sky was the limit with this, and you know, a fishing tournament that anyone in the world potentially can participate in this format, and then at the end of the tournament, coming together and talking about it. So, you know, the winners calling in, and I just think it's a fantastic idea. And once that clicked in my head, I said, well, I have to be a part of it from the beginning then. So I'm appreciative. Thanks so much for letting me be a guest on your first show.
Well, thank you very much, August. And now I want to go to Mikhail, who's my new best friend here. We're like identical cousins, like in the old TV show. We have a lot of things in common, and that's another guy that you know, basically, like you guys heard the story before. He reached out to me initially, and then I took the opportunity. It's like, you know, you may regret later on actually dialing that number, because it's going to be hard to get rid of me. And look at him, he's right here. Not only did he, you know, provide prices and, you know, to spice up a little bit the tournament, but, you know, he's given us our time, his knowledge, and you know, very, very appreciated, you know, Miguel. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's fun. I love doing this stuff. So it's no worries. Plus, you know, like I said, my dog ate my first Yoyito, and he sent me a new one, so it's cool.
That's another story we should talk about at some time. So I also want to thank my daughter that's back there that you guys nobody sees, but she's back there making posts and doing things and producing stuff. You know, maybe that's a
If it wasn't for her, this show would have fallen apart completely. I gotta, yeah. Amanda, well done.
That's right. And I want to thank my wife, Fernanda, who's also been busy putting things together and working on the leaderboards and the images and basically dealing with the fact that I've been doing this thing all this time and driving her crazy and putting up with me, more importantly. But I also want to thank the folks that that work with us here at Yoyito.com because I would not be doing this without a product. And these are my parents, my mom, Frances, and my stepdad Mikhail, and my good friend George Foltz and his wife Karen, which have been incredibly supportive. I mean, they're not just friends and neighbors. I mean, my God, Karen has been just promoting this thing, and they're working really hard to make this happen and work, and with troubleshooting production issues. And I mean, I came to them and told them about this, and at no point did they even. The question was never asked, what's in it for me, It doesn't matter what I said. It was like, yes, let's do it, And we have Kenny and his wife Kathy. Bai is the last name. They've also, they work with us. They are producing the bags, and that's they're also friends with George and Karen, and they live a little bit farther away, but they're also part of our community, and they're friends and neighbors, and basically, the people who power Fishing Yoyito. So, we're just starting out. We're taking our first steps. The product launched 2 months ago. We have a lot of hopes for the future, and we're just going forward full board, see where this takes us. So I'll give it back to you, Joe, and you go ahead and
excellent. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this too, and I'm very grateful for the people I got to meet through this process. So I want to thank everybody as well. And August, I wonder if you would grace us with another song. Would you be willing to let us roll up another disc here from?
Sure.
Okay, which one would you like to see happen in here? If you could not only say which one, but also cue it up a little bit so that I can, in the background, like a little troll, cue it up as you're talking about it.
Okay. Well, let's go with Black Rose. I know this is Benny's favorite from the album. The story behind this song, sometimes songwriters they have dreams about music and lyrics, and this is one of those times. I had a dream, and some of the lyrics were there, and the idea, and I woke up and I wrote it. So it's sort of a clandestine song. It's about a girl who her lover gives her a rose and says that he'll be back for her, but the end happens, and she's obliterated by nuclear fallout, and the lover never makes it back to her in time. So it's kind of a tragedy, but it's also an homage to, there's some cowboy poetry that I brought into it, also an homage to Roger Waters and Pink Floyd and his song, The Yellow Rose, and also to the state song of Texas, The Yellow Rose in Texas. So I kind of combined all those things. And then the music is like classic country western meets Nirvana, and you'll see why when the chorus comes. So this is Black Rose by the Last Electric Rodeo.
There is a black rose in Texas that I am going to see. There's no way that I could miss her, for there should always be. She was the fairest of them all. There's a shadow on the wall. She still holds the rose I gave her, still thinks I will save her. Black rose, black rose, black rose. Though the cowboys have left the country and all the campfires have gone out, there's still a black rose in Texas standing by the house. Put away the pistols, oh, throw away the stones. Let us sing the song together we sang so long ago. Black rose, black rose, black rose.
Very good, very good.
I gotta say, I love that song. You know, I like all of them, but there's something about that song that I really enjoy. I would like to go ahead and also thank Midwest Hunt and Fish magazine for you know, donating the subscriptions to us and you know, helping us out here with the contest. And you know, it's a shame that we couldn't get Tyler in here, but I know that he's a very busy man, and you know, it's not always possible to do everything, you know, one wants to do. I would also like to thank the members of the Yoyito fishing team, which have graciously donated their time and their probably one of the most important times they have, which is their fishing time, you know, to test out our product and give us feedback and you know, play in this tournament that we created here, basically, you know, on a moment's notice, because it was all kind of like, you know, we played, everything we did was you know, on the fly. I would like to also thank everybody else who participated in the tournament, whether they're part of the Yoyito fishing team or not. We had a lot of people sign up and go out there and interact with us, and in fact I ended up actually speaking to a lot of the folks that were not even in the fishing team, and it's just a fantastic community, people who are very warm and welcoming and just willing to take part in community things, which again, as Joe was talking about earlier, it's an important thing. We are social animals. We are not meant to be alone. We need each other. We depend on each other, and anything that helps us get together and collaborate on a project, small or large, is in my mind is a good thing. So I don't know how to end this, Joe. We're probably at the point where we need to end this, and I got Mikhail showing a big knife over there. It's a very scary looking knife. So you go ahead and do say your magic words, Joe, and let's wrap it up. And then what we'll do is what I like to do, if August is okay with it, is as soon as I come off and stop the video broadcast, I want to play all the clips that we have. They're all about a minute long, that we created from the album. Just play them on the radio feed, and that will be the last sound on the radio feed. Would that be okay, August?
Sure. Yeah, do that.
All right, cool beans. So go ahead and wrap it up, Joe.
Yeah, okay. Well, the magic word is not abracadabra. We should probably do a round robin here and get all the ways that people can connect with each of the guests here. And I think we could start first with fishingyoyito.com. That's kind of the hub of all of this. If you want a Yoyito, and if you want to get connected to this, there is a blog there. There is all kinds of information, and of course you can land on the product as well, land on places to find videos and so forth, tips and whatnot on fishing. In addition to that, we also have Mikhail here from Emlet, and the website there is emberlit.com. That's emberlit.com. Mikhail has a great line of stoves and accessories for backpacking, camping, fishing, all of the above, the kind of the outdoors thing, and also both of these products are really useful in the thing. And then the connection point. What would you say, August, is the best way for people, if there's one method to connect with all the others? Would it be lastelectricrodeo.com? Would that be the best way to get connected to you?
Sure, it does have the links, but everybody's on Facebook. So Last Electric Rodeo, just search it on Facebook, and that's everyday up-to-date stuff that gets put on your social media wall.
Okay, and then the last one, of course, is MidwestHuntFish.com for Midwest Hunting and Fishing Magazine. All the sponsors, and most of all, thank everybody out there, because without all of you, none of us could do this at all. So with that, we probably ought to sign off. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating.